Thank you, Rodolphe.
Okay.
And hello
Thank
to
you.
Yemi, Remy, and Ayo.
Hi, Franklin. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing wonderful.
Hi, everybody.
Chief Yemi,
Hey, Chief.
Remy, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
So, like I told you before the show, we are going to give everybody 2 minutes to have an opening statement, and then we will go into questions. So let me start with you, Chief Remy.
Yeah. As far as Lagos is concerned, my concern is uh, the fact that Nigeria is amorphous. Nigeria is not a nation; it's a country, but you cannot even call it a country. So it will be very beautiful for Lagos to become New York or the old Kigali, but at what cost to the owners of Lagos? Because no matter the way you look at it, even in New York, we know the owners of New York. We know the owners of old Kigali. So if we are going to give up Lagos to become New York for the interest of all Nigerians, regardless of ethnicity, for what are we doing that? For what is the gain for such sacrifice? That is the question that we have to answer. And that is part of the questions that people are considering in view of this election that is coming up. Nigeria is amoebic. It has no shape. It has no future. We have not even agreed that we want to be in Nigeria as one. So if we are in Nigeria as one, I should be able to go to Kano and live my dream out without any cause for fear. I should go to Enugu or Imo. I mean, with the kind of upbringing that we all have. I had an Igbo man as my as my guardian when I was in high school. He took me to Owerri on vacation. I've been to Kano. I've been to almost everywhere in Nigeria. But do we believe in Nigeria? Do we want Nigeria? If we want Nigeria, how do we want it? So if the Yoruba people are going to give up Lagos, of what will be the benefit of that sacrifice? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Remy. Ayo, you're next.
Thank you, everybody. Rudy, thank you for having me.
It's good.
Well, what is happening now in Lagos is just a manifestation of the problem Nigeria has faced since independence, even before independence, since the nationalist movement. The fundamental problem with Nigeria is the mutual suspicion, mistrust, and distrust of its ethnic nations. That problem remained unaddressed. And Lagos happened to be the cosmopolitan, the center where every group comes to meet. So it's going to manifest one day or the other. And that is what we are seeing now. And because some people set a divisive tone for their campaign in this electoral campaign from inception. We will address that later when we get to the body of the issue. So what we are witnessing now is not strange to me. It is a problem that we have got to see. We want to pretend we have got to civil war of 3.5 years that we love millions of people. We have fought several fights. We've had issues. There will be pogrom here. There will be riots on this issue. So the fundamental issue is there. It remains. Mutual distrust, mistrust, and suspicion of all ethnic groups in Nigeria. As long as that suspicion is there and we are not addressing it, if we don't build a nation where each group will be comfortable in its element, will operate under their own chosen system of governance, orientation, nature, and nurture, we are going to continue to have this problem. And if you look at most successful countries in the world, look at Switzerland, by their first world civilized country by all standards, it's a confederation. So there's no tension. We don't have 10 rams drinking from the same bowl at the same time. The bowls are separated. So each drinking from his own bowl. As long as we have about 10 empty rams have to drink together, we're going to have a problem. As individuals, we do well together. Igbo, Yoruba, everybody, we go together, drink. You, Rudy, I've known you for almost 40 years or so. We've been friends for about 35 years. So we do well together one-on-one. It is only when it comes to corporate Nigeria that we have problem. So the issue is with the corporate structure of Nigeria itself. And with particular to Lagos, then we have to address why that tension is always there when we get to the body of the issue. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Ayo. Franklin, you're next.
Oh, well, Rudolph, listening to the two gentlemen confuses me a little bit because I don't even see a problem here. Why are we even having this debate? That's the fundamental question we really have to ask. Why are we having this debate? Remy made a very important point when he said, try to differentiate between a country and the nation. The major problem, I will always say, nobody has bested Achebe's articulation that the fundamental problem with Nigeria is the trouble with Nigeria's leadership. It's the failure of leadership to create a nation out of a disparate collection of tribes and, out of what Remy will call a country. And then the second point is, why would anybody think in the 21st century that somebody is asking the Yorubas to give up Lagos? This is a non-issue, that a son of Yoruba land is vying for governorship in Lagos, two sons of the same tribe. And then people are now bringing in ethnicity into it to delegitimize one. And then we call it politics in the 21st century. And then we are peddling this pedantic narrative to the effect that because he's married to an Igbo woman, he is no more a Yoruba person in the 21st century. And we forget that every major genocide in history started with such narratives. Look at what Hitler did to the Jews. I live in Germany. If you studied the history of the Holocaust, that's how it started. The Jews, they are our problems. And then when you label a particular group of human beings as your problem, you will start seeking solution to that. And what is the solution normally? To slaughter them. And that's what Hitler and his Nazis did. It was the same narrative in Rwanda. The Hutus are our problem. They have manipulated everything. They are in governance. They are at the toppest level. The Tutsis, sorry. We are the Hutu majority. It's our land. Why would the Tutsis take away everything from us? They labeled these people as a problem. And what happened? They saw the solution. And what was the solution? Started calling them, subhuman beings, and then ended up slaughtering them. We lost nearly 1 million human souls in less than 3 months. So this is the danger. So when somebody mentions the road to Kigali, Kigali happens to be the capital of Rwanda. And that's where the worst genocide in the history of the continent happened. And we are taking the same paths if we are not careful in the kind of narrative we promote. That's my submission for now.
All right, thank you, Franklin. So let's get to the substance of the issue, and I'll start with you, Chief Remy.
Yes.
How did we end up here in terms of the politics of Lagos?
Now, I'm going to be very, very honest, brutally honest, because at times people are very, very discomforted by the truth. Listening to my friend and brother Franklin, you see, if you look at Nigeria, the most accommodating ethnic group is the Yoruba people. We are the most accommodating in Nigeria. Now, the fact that we are accommodating does not mean that we have lost the sense of our culture, tradition, and heritage, as well as ownership. So, when some people begin to say that Lagos, for example, is a no man's land, if you are not thinking along that line before, you begin to ask yourself, are you stupid by being caring, loving, and accommodating to other people who come to live in your land? You begin to ask yourself some questions. And then when you see some other people telling you your history, falsifying it, you're gonna be angry, whether you like it or not. Then you begin to think, what you have not been thinking before. You have to understand that it takes two to tango. For somebody like me, who have a nephew and a niece by Igbo woman, do you think I want them to be killed? No. But when some people begin to show what I would like to call putrid braggadocio, because we accommodate you, we believe that we are brothers, we believe we can live together, and then you start poking my nose, poking my eyes, that no, this place is no man's land. The reactions will be different. Because like Ayo said, if we do not take care of certain issues, then we are just deceiving ourselves. We have to sit down and address certain things. If we don't do that, no matter what we do, like Franklin said, delegitimizing a candidate for the other. That is where you see it. Others don't see it that way. And in Yoruba land, we have this proverb. That means we cannot all sleep and face one direction. So people have different ways of thinking. They have variables that influence those thinking. So we have to recognize that. And what will upset some other people might not even care about it. We have to take all those variables into cognizance. So we have to be very honest with each other. If you come to New York and you start behaving certain way, the law is there to take care of you. They will take you and keep you or either expel you from that place. So there are certain rules we all have to, live by, certain ways of behavior that we have to live by to make everybody comfortable, not just the host, but even those who are visitors who want to live in that place. Everybody has to be comfortable. If you cannot do that, there's going to be crisis. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Chief Remy. Ayo, I wanted to expand on Remy's point about accommodation.
Can I yield to Franklin?
You want to yield to? No.
Well, yeah, because
I'd like to yield to Franklin.
Okay.
Around.
Okay.
Yeah, make it look like I will talk.
No, it's all right because I am taking issues. I'm taking my moments about submissions made by my brother.
Yeah, so me too. I'm taking some moments. I want to yield to you so I can talk after you must have spoken.
Thank you.
Because myself, I kind of align with Chief Remy, as you know.
Yeah.
So
I
let
understand.
me talk so I can.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay. So let me get on with it. Yemi made a point. He said that the most accommodating nationality in Nigeria is the Yoruba. I am taking issues with that because hospitality is I have traveled the world, and in every place I have been, I have met wonderfully accommodating human beings, families, groups, nationalities. And that made me to realize that hospitality is a pan-humanic trait. You get it everywhere. You get it in the Yoruba nation, you get it in the Igbo nation, you get it in the Calabar nation, you get it everywhere. So making this comparison that you are the most accommodating is your perspective, the way you see it, which I can understand. Everybody pushes the narrative from his own standpoint. If we remember Paul Ricoeur, he said that no man speaks from nowhere, and that is the fact. So we have this trait as a human trait, and hospitality is a human. The Igbos have an adage that says, the visitor should not do his host in, and the host should show hospitality. That's the summary of that. The second point, you talked about the putrid, what you call the putrid braggadocio. You are absolutely right on that. Chinua Achebe, in The Trouble with Nigeria, made mention, and because I know where you're going, made mention of that Nigeria has an Igbo problem. He didn't stop there. He even blamed the Igbos themselves for being noisy, being clannish sometimes, and showing what you call braggadocio. But what Achebe didn't go far enough here. Another Professor Ami Chua, she's a Chinese woman. She lectures in the States. She wrote a book titled The World on Fire, where she discussed what she called market-dominant minorities. And she mentioned the Igbo there. And she mentioned the Bamileke in Cameroon. And we have this fundamental problem. Market-dominant minorities are always that way. It's just like the Venetians from Venice in the Middle Ages that were merchants. They come into money. They come into wealth. And money doesn't hide itself. And money puffs people up. Wealth and all one. So the Igbo have also this problem. I'm Igbo. I have to recognize that. And Achebe warned his people. This is what we should guard against. Okay, that noisy exhibitionism that almost every Nigerian today has adopted. It seems to be a Nigerian problem because we are very noisy people. So I should not want the Igbo about that. You are correct about that one. But that does not in any way justify the narrative we are carrying out in Lagos today to delegitimize Wadebo Vivo Rhodes and his aspiration to become a governor of a state where he was born in, where his father, where the umbilical cord of his parents and ancestors were buried. It does not justify this narrative at all. This narrative is the stuff of genocide. So, and why do we always come to this issue during political seasons? Have we ever asked ourselves that? Because what I have realized in Nigeria, Karl Marx was correct. It's a class thing. The politicians know themselves and they liaise with each other. They wine and dine with each other. They marry each other's kids. But once it comes to the political season, they play the hoi polloi, the hewers of wood and the drawers of water against each other. And we are killing ourselves on the streets. But they jump into their private jets and attend the same parties, okay, and go to the same vacations in Dubai. But the poor people who have not seen what to eat, whom their policies impoverished, are there on the streets killing each other. And we are supporting that with this narrative that doesn't lead any nation to anywhere. You are right that we really need to build a nation out of our country, but it has to start with all of us stopping pushing and peddling this narrative. I listened to Fanny Coyote trying to, it was so brazen the way he was describing a human individual. It's a violation of his fundamental human rights to describe him, to make him, a persona non grata among his own people. So this is the narrative we should all eschew. Even if Nigeria is not yet a country, we have to, even the United States, 270 years, they are still working towards a more perfect union. Nigeria, how old are we? We are not even up to 70 years. We can equally walk towards a more perfect union, but we have to start with the narratives we peddle. It's pretty important.
All right, Ayo, you come next, and please for our audience, there are a lot of questions about what do you mean? Remy mentioned accommodating. What does that mean? You're an attorney. What does that mean in legal terms, as far as people who are part of a nation?
Anyway, maybe when we get to question and answer, he will answer that by himself. But let me present my perspective. First of all, concerning the topic itself, whether Lagos wants to become New York or is on its way to Kigali, what I'm going to say is this. Lagos is already New York and more. By African standard, is more than New York. Lagos is a city to over 20 million people. That is 4 times the population. That's about 3 times the population of New York at 8.something million. It is the 5th largest economy in Africa. It is not a major point because it is people's ancestral land. Some people owns Lagos, not New York. New York history, if you know very well, it was the Italians that first came there. Then the Dutch, they came around the Hudson River. It used to be New Netherlands, New York. When the British came, they supplanted them and changed it to New York. Huh?
New Amsterdam.
Yeah, New Netherlands. New Amsterdam. It was New Netherlands. And you can check it out. So let me quickly give you the background.
I just wanted to correct one thing, that there were Native Americans who were here before all those.
Exactly, but they were not in New York area. Don't forget.
But they were everywhere. They were here. They were on the island. They were
here. Listen, they were here, right? We can address that. And the issue is still here. They are still fighting. They've not given up. They have to create special law for them and special territory. You know that? So people's ancestry cannot be removed. But I don't want to jump. Let me just follow the sequence because I want the listeners to follow me carefully. So New York is more like a melting point. The population of the Indians become decimated by the invaders who took over from them because they became powerless. You understand that? Lagos is a Yoruba territory. Simple. It's an ancestral land by geographical, spiritually, by culture, by nature, by orientation. It's Yoruba. It doesn't share border with any other ethnicity at all other than Egun people, the minority Lagosians. You cannot step into a niche of Lagos without crossing Yoruba land. It is completely encompassed by Yoruba. If you come there, this narrative did not start today. You know, that's what I was trying to tell you. Obi as a governor, because he had issue with Fashola, said Lagos is no man's land. That is the phrase. Yes, he said it as a governor, sir. I can bring the report. You know this. Do you know that that phrase has been the major problem? You see, like Chief Oyeyemi said, Yoruba people don't care. They just want to live and let live. They just want to enjoy their life. They really don't care. In the tradition of Yoruba, when they are going to bed at night, they deliberately reserve food. They always say when visitors are passing through in the night, they might need something to eat. So no Yoruba people family goes to bed without leaving something aside in case visitors come in the middle of the night. That is the culture. So that is why it's not only in Lagos that you have Igbo. Maybe I told you before, when my brothers have already left the house, you know, they were all gone. I was still back home at Ilesha. I lived with Igbo. My father is a staunch Catholic man, you know. Half Igbo boys who are traders in Ilesha come and live with us in our house. So part of my orientation with them, they teach me all kinds of, you know, tricks and stuff we do as young people. So it has been there. The Hausas have lived with Yoruba people for over 500 years. Trading, taking cola and bringing ice and skin and stuff like that. But it gets worse. That thing that Franklin identified about Igbo people, because we are going to be honest about this, that braggadocio rubbing it in people's face. When you come to Lagos and say, look, nobody is stopping you from making your money, you are buying land. I know friends, if you want to buy land in Lagos, you gotta go to Igbo people to help them process CFO. Nobody cares. But then when you keep telling them Lagos is no man's land, Lagos is not a no man's land, because it has its own history that is well documented. The Lagos, I will separate Lagos to two places: Lagos the state and Lagos the island, which was the federal capital. That ends at Jibowu when you cross that bridge. The whole of the other Lagos, Apapa, Ikeja, Ilupeju, we are all built by Chief Obafemi Awolowo with Western region money. All the first set of skyscraper in Lagos, the Western House, the Great Nigeria House, the National Bank Headquarters, Broad Street, we are all built by Western region, by the Western region investments, not by federal government. So all the satellite towns in the area, we are. You see, when you come to the Yoruba people came and settled, you will see Geshatedo. It was set up by Gesha people, not the Highland people. Abule Egba by the Egba people. Shomolu is where the Jebu first settled down. Ikorodu is purely an Ijebu city, simple. It's an Ijebu city that was encompassed into Lagos State, today's Lagos State. You cannot appropriate them and call them no man's land. You're appropriating people's orientation, ancestral land, culture, spirituality, and calling it is an insult. And this is what is causing this problem. If that's not being said, nobody will care. Nobody will be suspicious of anything. When that thing happened, when Obi started, sorry, let me finish this thing. When Obi started this campaign, and maybe he set the stone for all that, when he came to Lagos, he was going to the markets, Alaba, something. He started going from church to church because the other person has a Muslim. His campaign was divisive. People become suspicious. And when this guy came out, Gbadebo, the first thing I read from his what they gave out was Gbadebo is a Lagosian, proper Lagosian, by Igbo mother, married to Igbo wife. Nkechi, nothing about his achievement, nothing about his work history, nothing about whatever he has done and achieved in his entire life. The narrative that was being sold to us was that Igbo. Who wouldn't be suspicious of that? So that can that's a divisive campaign that is not based on merit. It's mediocre. There is another guy in that campaign that you guys are not listening to. His name is Fusha Duarte. He's a Lagosian. Do you know he's married to Professor Alele Williams' daughter? His own mother is a mix of German and Ishekiri. Why did he not come out and start selling himself as I'm married to Edo, and my mother-in-law is Alele Williams, and my mother is Ishekiri? Because he has something on his resume. You know, he's a chartered accountant who has worked with top accounting firms all over the world, who went to Harvard, who did very well. That is what you will see on his resume. He's a candidate of ADC. So he wasn't going along that way, and so nobody was targeting him. That okay, the Edo people want to come and take over. But when you come to us and started, your mother carry microphone in your market, started speaking Igbo, and people are releasing videos from me saying we will take Lagos by force. We must take Lagos. It's must. We must take over. Those who want to get rid of us, those are the people that are creating the narrative. These people are the ones that want to start genocide. These are the people who want to create crisis, and they should not forget that Lagos did not share border with any of these people that are making this noise. And I doubt if those who have businesses and investment in Lagos are the one making these videos. I doubt it. And I doubt if they will support that narrative. So you have to focus on those people who are creating an environment, charge environment to people to be suspicious, and then there will be problem. There will be a rethink. A lot of people voted Obi and Yoruba people. They wanted Obi, a lot of Yoruba youth and stuff. Many of them have started doing the moonwalk back now, dancing back.
Do you have statistics to prove that?
Yeah, when they saw all this video coming, that now Badebo is it's an image of Igbo who want to take over Lagos, period. That is the image that Yoruba people have. You want to know the Yoruba perspective.
Well,
and that's what
Ayo, my brother, you know, sometimes, my brother, I don't want to go ad hominem, but sometimes we peddle information that are not facts at all. And that comes from, you know, I don't know how to describe it. First of all, this word, no man's land, that Lagos is a Yoruba city is a fact. I have not seen anybody, not even an Igbo person or Igbo man, coming to take over Lagos from the owners or ancestral or indigenous people that live there. It's even impossible. All we are dealing with is a narrative. Don't forget that. How can an Igbo man come and become an Oba of Lagos? He doesn't even know the tradition. He doesn't even know the language. It's a narrative, and it's a political narrative. Because this word, no man's land, I would want you to go and read the inaugural speech of Lateef Jakonde. When he was elected in 1979, he was the guy that used this word as Lagos is a no man's land, where every Nigerian should come in and feel free and safe.
That is not true. Even before him, Mobolaji Johnson was trying to correct some people who are saying Lagos was no man's land. So it was not Jakonde who first said it.
But Jakonde used it. If thank you for helping me with tracing that history that Mobolaji Johnson said it. So if Mobolaji Johnson, who is a Yoruba man, said it, and Lateef Jakonde
say it, he was correcting those who were saying it when he was governor of Lagos State.
Lateef Jakonde wasn't correcting anybody because it was in his inaugural speech. I could send it to Rudolph and he could put it up right now for the whole world to see. So Lateef Jakonde wasn't correcting anybody.
But when Pius was being a
statesman when he made that position clear. Lateef Jakonde was being a very intelligent statesman because he understood that Lagos, as a capital of Nigeria then, should be a home for all and sundry, for every Nigerian from everywhere. Any Nigerian could. And you made mention of the famous hospitality of the Yoruba nation, which my best friend, late Pius Adesami, was a Yoruba guy. Okay, so you made mention of that hospitality. And then you are falling for the same narrative that politicians are repackaging to bring division among people who have lived with each other for quite a long time in peace. It's the same narrative that happened in Rwanda. Hutu men that married Tutsi women started murdering their wives because of the narrative that has been peddled, which is political. Men that have loved their wives for quite some time stood up in the middle of the night and used a machete and killed the love of their lives based on a narrative. And this is the same narrative we are peddling. And that's where the danger lies. So if calling Lagos a no man's land is the only problem, you can call Enugu a no man's land. I don't even care. You can call any other place. Why don't you return the same narrative? You know, that's the major problem we have as a people. We don't think things through. And then we join in the very same thing. When you say that Badebo is coming to take over as an Igbo man, no, since this election started in Lagos,
you say that?
I have not heard anybody. No, don't put. I don't take kindly to somebody interrupting me. So Sir, allow me to land before
Yeah,
you
you
can.
attempted to interrupt me when I was
So
speaking.
what I am saying is that
just needed
since
to
this
correct that
election
quickly.
campaign started, I have not heard about the competence of this young man. I have not heard about the competence of Sanwo-Olu. Okay, the issues now is because Labour Party won in Lagos, and the majority of the people that voted for Labour Party in Lagos are Yorubas, and these are children, young people, old people, adults who are tired, sick and tired of what Nigeria has become. They wanted a change. We all want that change to happen. So the majority of people that voted for Labour Party in Lagos were Yorubas because they want something to be different this time. And APC is very much afraid because they know that this Obi wave is going to throw APC out because they've been in power in Lagos from ACN for how many years now? Close to 20-something years. The whole thing they are fighting about is the elite trying to cover the fact that Lagos has been a cash cow for a group of people. And they are now throwing the kitchen sink at a young man who they believe is going to take power over from them. And we are joining that narrative to create a problem between two ethnic nationalities that have been at peace with each other all this while. And then we are saying that Obi said it's a no man's land. Obi never used those words. I have followed Obi's campaign from the day he started till date. If you can show me where Obi said that Lagos is a no man's land, I will give you, charge me anything you want and I will give it to you now. I challenge you to show us that Peter Obi
Are you
called
done?
Lagos a no man's land.
All right.
Okay.
Now,
Thank you.
yes, I want to make 2 points. What's the name of our friend in Dibe? He
Okay.
wrote an article condemning Peter Obi when Peter Obi had a problem in Anambra State and women were protesting. He said they were the Yoruba women who wanted to topple his government. That's in Anambra, not Lagos. That's what Peter Obi said.
Can you
And
cite that article?
in
Because I've
Dibe,
had the reading of
I don't have it right now,
I never read
but
about
in
that.
Dibe,
You are interrupting.
you can Google it.
You don't
You
take
can
any
Google
to
it.
be interrupted.
Listen to me. You can Google it. And Idipe was condemning him that has he considered the possibility of him being on a national stage and this will not be used against him? That was the question he asked in that article. Now, that's one. Number two, frankly, you are not looking at history. You cannot forget your history no matter what. When the program happened in the North, I've interviewed Joseph Gaba. I've interviewed Emeka Ojukwu, God rest his soul. And I've interviewed Samu Bakwe. And I got so many perspectives from all of them. I'm telling you, when the program happened in the North, no matter the justification for it, that was heartrending. If I were Ojukwu, I would try to protect my people too. But when the war started, he faced Yoruba land until he was stopped at Ore. And there was no program against the Igbos in Yoruba land. What is the motive? That's number one. Number two, when Zik wanted to become premier of Western region, and he didn't even have the majority, they started lies, condemning Awo that he engineered cross-carpeting. And that was falsehood. And Samu Bakwe confessed to me in the presence of Chief Richard Akinjide and Chief Adisa Akinoye, former chairman of a national party, that it was a ruse. We demonized Awo because we wanted Zig to take over the premier of Eastern region from Eyoita. So why couldn't Nnamdi Azikiwe appoint some of his lieutenants who are in NCNC as premier so that they could all align together to take Western region from Awo? What is the motive? And then when the war started, before they invaded Yoruba land, they called it police action. The war has not even started. Biafran planes were bombing Ikeja, and the plane was shot down. What is the purpose? There was program against the Igbos in the north. How come Yoruba land is the purpose, goal or focus of attack? So we have all taken all this. We try to put them aside, and we try to be kind and accommodating to our brothers from the East. Despite all these things. So if we are now being suspicious, we have every reason to be suspicious. We have every reason to remind ourselves of history. We have every reason to sit back and say, okay, what is going on here? And upon that, you are now calling our land no man's land. You said it is politicians who are doing it. But the behavior of average Igbo man in Lagos testifies that. That is the attitude. That's what they say. So you cannot blame us. I'm sorry, Rudolph. Just give me a minute more. You cannot blame us for it because, like as Bob Marley said, every action is a reaction. We have been tolerating and taking all these things, but now we are getting fed up. We are getting suspicious. That genocide, nobody wants genocide. Nobody wants war. But the attitude that we are getting from those who have been kind to, that we have accommodated, is so negative and is so provocative. So you have to be very honest. Don't start accusing people who are carrying whatever narrative. You have to be able to say the truth that some people's behavior are very, very repugnant and unacceptable. Nobody can come into my house and tell me that my house belongs to nobody. I will fight that person. We don't want war, we want peace. But for peace to reign, everybody has to know his or her boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No, Rudolph, I really have to.
No, I know, you will, but I want to say something before you do that. For our viewers, in another 10 minutes, we'll let them in to get involved in the conversation. So, Franklin, go ahead.
Thank you very much. The point is that this debate has degenerated into an emotive one. I can understand that. I can appreciate where the Chief Remy is coming from. But the point is that it seems that we have swallowed a lot of propaganda on all sides, even the Igbo themselves too. And Remy, everything he has listed now, many of them are in the realms of that propaganda that has been
no. I know. I feel disrespected. I feel disrespected by that.
You said I should know history. No, my brother. Well, you said I should use history. And I'm using history to refute.
Yes. Is it a lie that the Afghan soldiers invaded Yoruba land?
You made that point, and I heard it. And
is it a lie? I'm asking you. Answer that question. Is it a lie?
I'm gonna refute it.
Oh. Yeah. Is it a lie that Biafran planes bombed the Keja? Is it a lie?
You made your point.
Let
us respect facts. You can disagree by expressing opinion.
But listen, my brother.
You are entitled to your opinion, not to your own facts.
About opinions, you laid your facts on the table. So sit down and take the refutations. That's the way it works. So the refutations are very simple. It was a war situation. You are right. Biafran soldiers attacked were stopped at Ore on their way to where? To Lagos. What was Lagos at this point? The capital of Nigeria. It was where the commander-in-chief sat. So if you are making it as if to say the Igbos attacked the Yorubas, no. This Biafra was a republic fighting a war of survival against a behemoth, Nigeria. And the capital of Nigeria was Lagos. And you are saying that attack Yoruba land.
Who led our land without talking to us?
No. You're modeling the issue now. No. I'm not going to let that happen. And who led that force? A Yoruba guy, Victor Banjo. So how could a Yoruba man be attacking Yoruba country if it's not for a military strategic reason? So now the way you are peddling the narrative is as if to say that the Igbos banded together and say we are going to attack Yoruba land. No.
So why did Ojuku execute Banjo? Answer that question.
Well, no. This is another issue.
Why did Emeka Ojukwu execute Colonel Banjo? Why did he execute him? When Banjo discovered that it was being used, he refused to carry out that order and was executed. These are the reasons why we are suspecting people.
No. The point you're making, you are taking this. You are not.
Those are the facts of history. You cannot change history. You can never change history.
The facts you are talking about are non-facts. You are peddling narratives that are not even correct. If you ask why Ojukwu executed Banjo, only Ojukwu knows his reasons. The reasons they gave during the trial were that they were saboteurs. Ojukwu didn't only execute Banjo, he executed Ife Ajuna, who is equally very close to Ifajana is from Onisha, Ojukwu is from Newi. They are not even a stone throw from each other. So Ojukwu executed Abat and and so many other people. So it was a war situation. The Igbos never sat down to say we are going to attack Yoruba land. No, it was a military decision taken by the military high command then to attack Lagos, because that was where the commands were being issued out of to attack Biafra, so we can talk about the issues about the war, but that's not even the issue. So when you lump the Igbos and you say that an average Igbo man in Lagos behaves so badly, my brother, you are in dangerous territory, because it's the territory of genocide. The Hutus, we are saying the average Tutsi.
I'm afraid that the Igbos are planning genocide against the Yoruba people.
My brother,
they are planning genocide against the Yoruba people in Lagos because of their utterances, because of their behaviors, because of their attitude.
If you are in the Western world and you say an average Jew, let me tell you, they will throw the sink at you, because you are in the realms of danger. You are now stereotyping a people. There is nothing like an average Igbo man. It is, if somebody commits a crime in Lagos, that's why we have a country. Lagos is supposed to be a part of Nigeria, which is governed by the law. So if an Igbo man commits a crime, that is, an Igbo man doesn't play any role in it, he should be prosecuted according to the fullest extent of the law. And that's what we are saying. That's
not a crime.
You and I should start helping to build up this society that we want to see. But clinging to our ethnic robes, it is good. Barack Obama said it. We can be proud of our ancestry, where we came from. It's normal. That's what gives our lives meaning. But to lock up ourselves in these ethnic cocoons and see the world and every other person as being against us and being taken away what belongs to us is the psychology of scarcity. We should have grown out of that cocoon. And that's the only way a heterogeneous nation could function. Look at where we all are living. I live in Germany. I live in Frankfurt. Frankfurt is one of the most cosmopolitan towns in Germany. People come from everywhere and find a home here. And nobody, if I do something, if I drink and drive, the police will send me to jail. Whether I'm a black man or a white man, it doesn't matter. The Germans themselves will tell you that their laws are very strict. And that's the nation, the society we want to create, where the law rules, where it doesn't look at your face, where you come from, whatever gender you are, or whatever sexuality you express.
Mr. Franklin,
that's the land we want to create. So when you come out,
the law rules in Dubai, and everybody comes to Dubai, but everything is controlled by the indigenous, by the owners of the land.
By the law.
The law rules in Dubai. The
law rules. And that's what it should be. The law should rule. And that's what we want to see our society become. So because two Yoruba men are fighting for power, the Igbo should not be appointed as scapegoats for that.
They made themselves scapegoats. They made themselves
the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The law gives him the right to become a governor wherever. If a Yoruba man wants to be governor of Enugu State, he should vie for that.
So that I can get zero
my brother, no. We should not, as educated individuals, we should not be falling into the same traps that our ancestors fell into and messed up Nigeria. And these are the things we are going to be handing over to our kids. But we live everywhere else and we want to be accommodated. But we cannot even accommodate ourselves in that little enclave of ours that we call Nigeria. So, but you and I, it is our duty to start correcting this narrative right now, to start correcting that and show that a new Nigeria is possible with us, with our generation.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Frankly, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say this. I don't want it to look like back and forth debate. I want us to talk on points, so we know exactly what we are addressing at every point in time. The approach being taken by Franklin is a mix of denial and then playing the pastor. You're talking like it's like you are a mix of denial with some sanctimonious preachment.
Okay.
That is looking at one side of the story. Some of the points we are bringing out, you are not weighing them in like the reality of what is actually happened that we face in Nigeria. Most of the point we are raising, we are speaking from left to you, Rudolph, Chief Oyeyemi, that I know very well. Probably there won't be a problem. There is a problem because the way the ordinary people view these things is what we are discussing here. We can dismiss it. We can do some sanctimonious preachment and say, oh, we are supposed to do this. It's supposed to be kumbaya. It doesn't happen like that in reality when you are in my face. Maybe we can, maybe if it's happening in the East, you will see it better. But it's not happening there. Don't forget, Lagos is not the only part of Yoruba land that has Igbo people. If you go to Adekiti today, you go to Ilesha, you go to Ibadan. Ibadan is actually bigger than Lagos. If Lagos wasn't a city-state, Ibadan is the third largest city in Africa after Cairo and Johannesburg. It has a huge population of Igbo people. We have Edo people, we have Ijo people, we have Ikwere, we have Yala, we have Hausa. Why has it got to be about Igbo all the time? Have you asked yourself that question? Exactly. You see, and why about Lagos? They don't say because they say, oh, it was a federal capital. Even the colony that was declared in 1954 as federal capital was in Lagos Island, that little area, not area being run by the Western government, Western regional government. So if somebody want to base an argument on, oh, where they said that there was declared the federal territory in 1954, it is that area. And that has been the only problem. I don't see any other problem. Gbadebo, that's why I give an example of Funsho Duarte. Gbadebo is having a problem because he presented the narrative in his campaign that says he's a front candidate for Igbo aspiration in Lagos. The aspiration that has always been there. That's why I gave you an example of another candidate whose mother is Professor Alele Williams. That is the one that should be pushing that narrative because the mother is one of the first professors, women professors in Nigeria. They are Edo. There is a huge population of Edo people in Lagos. Even Edo people, they are laying claim to Lagos as well. Of course, they have very strong history with Lagos. He's not pushing that narrative. He just wanted to sell himself. He's not telling us where his wife came from or anywhere. You see, I don't want to go back to Civil War era or what happened at that time. That is not what this program is, according to but I want to base it on what is happening right now with regards to this election. This template for what is happening now is set by Gbadebo himself. So people are only following him. Oh, okay, this is what you want to do. And it has been amplified by other Igbo people. You cannot pretend that you have not seen the video or people holding meeting in Abia next to Cameroon saying we must take Lagos. You are going to take, who are they using to take Lagos? Gbadebo. So why will you not query him? And he's putting that on his face, so he's putting on that attitude. So people are querying him because of that. It's such a divisive template. So you have to properly place the blame. Who wants to create a problem for ordinarily peace-loving people? It is those who come to that territory and start challenging the rights and authority of people in their own ancestral land. That is what we should be addressing. Don't dismiss it. That, oh, it's not happening. It didn't happen like that. You can say it that much here, but the facts are not pointing to that. This issue of no man's land is all over the internet. Just Google Lagos no man's land. You see the OB, you see the responses to him from different people and every other people. It's not a secret. And I think part of what Rudolph is saying is we should find a way to de-escalate it. Denial will not de-escalate it. We need to admit faults that, okay, you are at fault here, this is at fault here, and then use whatever influence we have individually and collectively to stem it down so that it doesn't go to Kigali. It probably won't be Kigali because Lagos is just that little place completely surrounded by Yoruba people. So, and these people don't like to fight. They just want to party and live their life. Even a goat, when you pursue a goat to the wall, it's going to turn back at you. That is just a fact. And I think our conscience to speak to us about the attitude of Igbo people in Lagos. They should slow it down. That's my point.
All right,
Okay.
Franklin.
Okay. I am a trader in words. Words are very powerful.
Absolutely.
And the words that we use in this debate, they are, because I could see that, like I told Remy, when you say the attitude of Igbo people is stereotyping already. Because I cannot imagine that a German could stand up and say the attitude of Jews, or even an American could say that. But we use that casually without even knowing the implications, that we are condemning a whole nationality of over 50 million people to that simple stereotype that we are building. And that's what I have seen across board. I am distinguishing. So when you say that I am being dismissive, I'm not dismissive of anybody's feelings or dismissive of a people's aspiration. But the point lies in the fact that, one, we agreed that Nigeria may not be a nation, but is a country. And this country is governed by a constitution. And we are no longer governed primarily by the traditional authorities. We are governed, there is a state that is superimposed upon all these traditional authorities. And this state, we have a constitution that is imperfect, we know. But this constitution says that every Nigerian citizen has a right to reside in any part of this territory called Nigeria.
Absolutely.
And we are here debating still that people's ancestral lands, that these other people should behave not according to the law, but according to how the hosts like.
That's not correct. That is not correct. That's not correct.
Okay.
I don't want you to reframe what I said in such a way that we lose sight of the point. I don't want to argue back and forth, please, like I said. But then I don't want you.
That's what the debate is all about.
Look, I'm a trader in Wales, so I'm an attorney of over 30-something years.
Well, let me make this point.
So I won't sit down here and allow you to reframe my narrative.
I'm not reframing
so that you can reach a
when you have you will have the time. You have the time to
look
refute.
At America. Let me tell you something.
You will have the time America. To refute. You are now taking over my reputation of your reputation.
Do you know the financial sector of this country? Most of the funding have come from the Arab country. Do you know that real estate property in England does not really belong to them?
My brother, I am not discussing the US.
You say, I want to give you an example of what I'm saying, just in case you didn't get it.
Your examples.
You cannot say when you get to United Kingdom, people buy properties in United Kingdom. The money doesn't belong to UK. You understand? But if you go there, that will because I have investment here. We control the risk property sector. We control the financial sector in America, the Arabs, and you want to dictate in America that is a no man's land against the culture of America itself. You'll be shown the way out. That's what I'm telling you.
And what is the culture?
And America is the largest democracy in the world. We are following their constitution. You know what happened to Chelsea when they went to war with Ukraine? They snatched Chelsea away. It's an investment that shouldn't be touched, but because Russia had problem with Ukraine, another brother, which is against the interests of United Kingdom, they took Chelsea Football Club away from them. That is protected. Self-preservation and enlightened self-interest is a fact of life. The Yoruba people in ancestral land had every right to protect their interests against external aggression.
You are right.
Be portrayed. Yes,
you are right.
I agree
with
what
you.
I'm saying is that we want to address issue, right? Or we want to dodge from it. This thing it didn't start today. It didn't start today. It started before this campaign. It has always been there. But you don't want to address this, you want to dodge away from it, then this
I am not dodging. If you listen for a second, if you listen for a second, you will understand that clutching at those straws that we clutch at whenever we are discussing, dialoguing about such issues is not going to help us in this debate. Relax, my brother. Just let me put the points across what I was doing before you got it.
Don't reframe. Don't reframe anything I said.
My brother, you don't set the rules of the debate. The moderator is there.
No. This is my own comment. I don't want you to
reframe. Okay. All right, Ayo. Let him speak.
My brother, okay. So the point is, the Yoruba nation, I have not seen anybody from any part of Nigeria rise up and say, I am going to take over Yoruba land. Even the Igbos doing their trades there. No, but if anybody is saying it, that you ask yourself, does the person have the power to take over somebody's ancestral land? Or does the person have what it takes to do that? Or is it just a market women gossip? Apologies to women, it's not anything. It's just a way of talking in Nigeria. Is that what it is? If that's what it is this what should be riling a people to be using and packaging other human beings as subhuman in the way they are being addressed? So when you say the Igbo, why must it be the Igbo all the time? And that's what I'm trying to remind anybody using such terminologies, that we are now in the territory of genocide. Because it starts with such narratives.
I really don't know about that. You are escalating it now. You want to put fire.
Yes, I want you to see how dangerous
people are going.
Rudolph,
please,
you are the judge here.
No, that word is heavy.
The man here
use that word.
At least keep quiet. Let me make my point.
Use that word in order to drive a point. And I'm against you using the word genocide, except you are planning one.
Ayo, give him the chance. You respond to him when he's.
Yeah, no.
I listen. I thought I listened
because
to you.
We say the issue has always been with Igbo people. Have you ever seen the Hausa people in Agege? They betrayed over 500 years in Yoruba land before the Igbo people came. Have you ever had that issue of no man's land?
Using those words.
Have you ever had it with Calabar people, Efik, or Yala people, or Ibibio, or Ijo? Have you ever had it? This competition has always been between Igbo in Lagos and the Yoruba people. That's the fact. I just give a statement of fact that you cannot deny. Then you are trying to you are escalating it. And
my brother, I thought you were a lawyer.
I thought you were a lawyer. Now in the realm of genocide. Come on, you are being an alarmist.
My brother, I thought you were a lawyer.
Hold on.
No, stop that. Slow down, frankly. So we all know how to use words. No, I can escalate your word. I can take just one phrase out of your word and create something out of it that you don't like.
Okay, Ayo, thank you.
We are both trained in the use of phrases and words. Please.
Okay.
My
brother, if you get hold
just
of
use plain your language, drive your point without trying to create
if I put you, a narrative. You're a lawyer.
No. Don't create a narrative.
But no, my brother. No. This is not a debate anymore.
This is the internet.
This is being childish.
Forever.
No.
I will not allow you to frame me up. It's not going to happen.
My brother, stop. No, you've done your part. Let me do mine. Okay. Stop. I thought you were a lawyer. If I put somebody like you on the dock, I will send you to jail if you are facing a criminal charge.
You send me to jail? I didn't want to send you to jail.
Hold your emotions.
You want to say you to jail?
Come on. The point is, you are still using the symbol. You said
you cannot be putting words into somebody's mouth. Express your own view. If you are talking of genocide, are you planning one? But actually, the way I'm thinking now, I'm suspecting that.
Rudolph.
Yeah.
I thought this was a debate. I thought they know what I do. My job is genocide prevention. That's what I do. That's my work. And I am telling you, I'm giving you pointers to when it starts. I thought that you checked out the guy you're going to debating with. I am the director of genocide prevention at the Christian Solidarity International in Switzerland. That's my job. So when I tell you when genocide starts, how it begins, I am telling you from a perspective of what I do, my experience, my studies. So you don't sit down there and tell me, am I planning one? This is how it starts. Tell me that the genocide against the Jews, the Holocaust, didn't start with narratives that lasted over thousands of years. We are calling the Jews money grabbers. Even Shakespeare wrote it in The Merchant of Venice when he painted Shylock as a money-grabbing Jew. And that sank in the minds of Europeans. And we saw the apogee of that creation of otherness in the Holocaust that murdered 6 million European Jewry. Did we not see that in Rwanda? We had the same narratives of calling the Tutsis cockroaches and subhuman beings, that they are our problems. Where it landed Africa today. Is that a fact that you can deny? And then we are using throwing the same terminologies about these people. Once you start using the word these people, you have gotten into the territory of stereotyping them. And when you say, why must it be about people all the time? Have we had problems with the Efik? Yeah, I'll tell you the reason. The reason is very simple. Because the Igbos are what Professor Ami Chua called the market dominant minority. They are always on the move. They trade. And it's always a fact that traders, merchants, have always encountered problems with where they trade. It's normal because they come into money, they come into wealth. And this wealth sometimes generates a kind of unease in a society. We understand all this. So, but that does not mean that I should allow you, both of you, to be throwing around this same terminology that has led to fundamental change in societies across history, even in our world today. And when you say Lagos, why must it be Lagos? I will tell you why. Ancient Rome was the capital of a whole empire. Every road led to Rome. People came from all over, from Tunisia, from Africa, from to the Caspian Sea, came to Rome, and they became Roman citizens. They stayed there and made Rome great. United States that we all flock to today. People came from everywhere, and it became a melting pot, governed by the rule of law. Although the American Indians were eliminated, some are put in reservations today, but this society is being governed by law today. And what does that tell us? Can we borrow a leaf from that on what we can make of Nigeria today? Can we leave a little bit of our ethnic cocoons and see the other as my brother, as a fellow human person, whom I could build a society with? So if you call that preachment or sanctimonious preachment, let it be. Societies become great with diversity. It's not only a unilateral, no unilateral society has survived. Diversity, even at the genetic level, is what makes us human and ensures our survival as a species. So when we sit down here and argue from the perspective of they must leave that for us, don't forget, Lagos was a Nigerian capital. Everybody that was Nigerian flocked to Lagos as a capital. I can understand the Yorubas don't want to lose their culture. I will not support them losing their culture. That's why I will even urge the governments to implement policies and save so many monuments that belong to this beautiful nationality and their culture. But if we start excavating ethnic xenophobia only when political seasons come, then we are in for a very terrible time ahead of us in Nigeria. Politics should not be used by this class that has taken away everything from the ordinary Nigerians to divide people who have been neighbors all this while, people who have lived their lives with each other together in peace. Why must it be during political season? Have we not? That's what makes the white man a little bit, progressive. They study the reasons for why things happen, but we don't. It's only in political season that we remember that Igbos are the problems with Lagos. But after politics, Tinubu will fly to see an Igbo man in Imo State, and then Obi will fly to see a Yoruba man in Lagos. And they will be dining and whining. But ordinary people have already killed themselves. A market was burnt in Lagos a few days ago. Who did that? We don't know. So these are the things we really need to guard against. We live in other people's societies, other people, and there we are very happy. Why did we run away from our homes? Because the law doesn't work there. But where laws work, we live there and enjoy the proceeds of those societies. Why can't we urge and why can't we fight for the establishment of the rule of law in our very homes where we came from? That's all I'm arguing for.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Frank. People who want to get involved in this conversation. So I'll start with you, Chief Remy. Go ahead. You're muted. Hold on, Remy. Let me see if it's okay. You have to unmute yourself from your end. It's not from my end. Okay, good.
Now, what was the question?
No, to round up, respond to him and round up, and then we take
Now,
questions from.
I have maybe just 2 or 3 statements. The best way you can begin to solve the problem is to be honest with each other. Each group should be willing to accept responsibility for the role they have played to get us to this point. When Nnamdi Azikiwe told Sardauna that we should forget our differences, Sardauna told him, no, we can't forget our differences. We must respect it. So if you are not ready to respect our differences and our views, then we are not ready for Nigeria. That genocide that you are yelling about, God forbid it happens. You have to be honest. You have to be sincere. No hypocrisy. We have to sit down and be very brutally honest with each other. There are certain boundaries some people cannot cross. We have to respect each other. Disrespecting each other will lead us to war. I'm telling you the truth. So my own is that if we want to solve the problem, we want to move forward, we have to start by being honest and sincere with each other. Thank you.
All right. Remy, can I come back to you just a minute so you can add to your conclusion? I want you to, can you give our audience an idea where you see Lagos 200 years from now? How you think it will look like?
I'm not a prophet.
No, yeah, but you can look at, just imagine how you think Lagos will look like 200 years from now.
Well, 200 years from now, it depends on what we do now. Because, like Franklin was talking about genocide, if you keep rubbing people's nose, poking it, wiping it, it will get to a point they will react. It is a nature of man to do that. And if that happens, it will change the dreams that some of us will have for Lagos. So, but if we are able to prevent it, like you said in the rider for this program, it may become like New York, but what we are saying is that whatever becomes of Lagos, the owners of the land must have a say and control over it. You don't come there and tell them they amount to nobody and their ancestral land is a no man's land. It's not going to work. It's going to lead to a very serious consequences. So if you can nip this in the bud, it will be very fantastic for us.
All right. Thank you, Chief Remy. Ayo, Yanes.
Yes, thank you. Let me quickly react to that similar lecture that Franklin was giving. Look, we are all trained in this act, and I've been out there on this stuff for a long time. Rudolph will tell you from way back. You see, what you are trying to do is clever by half. I'm so sorry to use that language. We are called together here by Rudolph for us to discuss what is going on, a current issue that has been there for decades. And it has become escalated of recent, and he wants us to talk about to de-escalate it. Now we are trying to tell you, as Yoruba people too, their perspective, the annoyance. And the moment we mention what that annoyance is, you dismiss that and you pretend you don't see it. And you say, oh, your people are not in danger of genocide. You don't want to address provocation. Even the law has provocation as a defense. You do not want to address the fundamental issue that we are raising. Oh, your people is not that. You say you Igbo. You said these people use these people. Is that the issue we are talking about? Semantics. You people, they don't use that one. I heard that all the day on the street. But when people don't have something to say, they use it. Why did you call us you people? Why did it? But we are addressing very serious matters here. You know, that could lead to loss of life, really, which is a fact. People are annoyed. They feel challenged on their land, and we are trying to reiterate some of those things. The utterances that is getting people annoyed, and try to bring it out in an intellectual manner so that we can address it in a robust manner. You are now trying to reconstruct the narrative to me. Oh, now you are being threatened by genocide. Me want to threaten genocide to anybody or who? I mean, we that all of us here, we are approaching retirement age. We are only looking for posterity. Our children to have a place they can call their own. That is what we are doing here. Do not reconstruct my narrative. I'm just telling you what the annoyances are. From being a lawyer to Egbama Yoruba of North America for several years and their legal counsel there, I know what people discuss. I'm in touch with my base. I'm in touch with several other Nigerian groups, and I know what the issues are. Left to me, Nigeria should have a referendum and decide whether we want to go our separate ways or we want to live as an autonomous unit within the context of Nigeria. That is where I stand. What we are discussing here is people's annoyance. But the moment we raise it, why people are annoyed, oh, you want to kill my people. Is that why you guys are saying, come on now, this is not a kindergarten class. We are all too wise for that. Don't reconstruct my narrative. Don't put it out there because it won't solve the problem. It will keep escalating it if we are not willing to admit. If you tell me that, okay, Yoruba people too, they have this tendency, and that might be annoying the Igbos. I won't take it that you are stereotyping my people. Actually, stereotyping is scientific. When they culture something, it's another word for stereotyping. When police do sampling of certain behavior of areas or something, it's another word for stereotyping. Even that's how science works. Either it's culture, how they are likely to behave, how they respond. When you do clinical trial, it's stereotyping, but you can put it in a negative context, depending on how you want to use it. So please, I want us to address that clearly. I'm not recommending genocide for anybody. I'm talking about people's perspective, and it's either you admit they are doing it or not that you are reconstructing the narrative. No, it's called red herring. It's diversionary argument. I'm trained in that. I'm doing it for 35 years as an international lawyer. And now, to round up, like you already said before people ask questions, I want us to go back, and do some introspection as a people. Like I said earlier, one-on-one, I've never seen Igbo people and friends dragging anything. They probably just have fun together, read together, share books, enjoy life together, help each other. I've seen a lot of that between Yoruba people and Igbo people. But the moment we talk about Nigeria, there's a problem. The unit interest trumps, then becomes a problem. I've told you why Yoruba people are annoyed. They are not mad at any Igbo people for whatever reason. I've never seen that because they've thrived the way they want in Yoruba land. We don't see a lot of people Yoruba go to Igbo. Even Yoruba hardly go to Hausa. They are live and let people and they are more comfortable. When they leave Nigeria, they are going to London or America. You hardly see them. I'm not saying they are not Yoruba, but they hardly go. And when you come to them, you are their friend. But if they have reason to complain, we need to examine that reason very well. They don't like wars too, so they are not likely to kill anybody or go into any genocide tomorrow, but they fight silently. So let's go back and do introspection. If there's anything you want to say about Yoruba people here that is causing tension, you can say it. Because when we are talking about this narrative now, we have Baba Fenifere Adebanjo, holding Obasanjo. They were holding Obi all over the place. Say Obi is who they are supporting. They want Obi. That is not likely to happen to a Yoruba person from Igbo people. It's not likely to happen. Yeah. So I'm just telling you the character of a people. That is the truth. So that is the character of a people we are talking about here. And everybody will do whatever they want. The sentiments should be out, but the one that concern the collective that I know, it is that no man's land thing, and the words that we take over Lagos is a must. By all means, I've seen it in videos. Some people are compiling those videos where they are saying we must take over Lagos. By all means, those are the people that are preaching genocide. If you say you must take over, you are using log conquer, take over Lagos. If you are using those words, you are the one that is directly saying you are going to suppress a people. So that is, as a person who works on genocide, those are the statements you should be worried about, not language like you people. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Franklin.
Well, thank you, Rudolph, and I thank the guys on the panel with me today. I shouldn't forget to lay that fact out there before I make my concluding statement. I sincerely loved what Remy said about to diagnose what the problem is. We have to be honest and we have to be sincere. I am glad I studied philosophy, and in epistemology is all about theory of knowledge. And then there you realize that nobody speaks from nowhere. Like I quoted Paul Ricoeur earlier. I understand they are speaking from their perspectives, and I'm speaking from my own perspective as well. And that's why we are debating. We lay our cards on the table so that the other can see where the other person is coming from, and then maybe we can, in a Hegelian fashion or in a Socratic fashion, come to a synthesis from all the thesis and the antithesis that we have put out here. Rudolph, you asked a question to Remy: where does he see Lagos in 200 years? I would want to take that up and try to do a little bit of an analysis. The trend I'm seeing in 200 years, Yoruba will still be spoken in Lagos. But most of the kids will have parentage from every other part of the world, one Yoruba and one from another place, because the intermarriages are increasing, as I can see. And we are all witnesses to it. Tinubu himself married an Ishikiri woman. Viva Rhodes married an Igbo woman. Femi Fani Kayode, who is now propelling this narrative that is dangerous to society, was married to an Igbo woman. So there will be a lot of intermarriages, and there will be a culture. Lagos is cosmopolitan, and it allows for that. People come together. It's a melting pot. People come together, and when people are close to each other, they fall in love, they get married. That's what sociology has shown across time. Okay, so that's where I see Lagos in 200 years. And if we get a good leadership sometime in Nigeria that will lay the foundation for good citizenship, for people to have a sense of belonging, that they belong to this country called Nigeria, and then decide to work towards uplifting this country, that we may see a nation where the son of Wadebo or whatever, nobody will ask him, what are you doing in Lagos vying for governor? What we are doing today, which is ethnic atavism of the worst kind. So I see a Lagos that will be a beacon of hope for all Nigerians, because Lagos is biogeographically blessed. We have a seaport there, Lagos, the lagoon, and everything. So it attracts trade, businesses, and that's why we see businesses coming to Lagos from the times of the slave trade. So Lagos will keep being that if our governments make a policy that ecologically save this place and doesn't let Lagos be washed away into the sea. And if we keep on a cultural openness that allows us to dialogue with each other and come to an understanding that we are human individuals, human beings, and not let base ethnic sentiments destroy what could have been a very beautiful country. When Remy said that it will be called Lagos a no man's land, Peter Obi never said that. This is a statement of fact now. Peter Obi never called Lagos a no man's land. There is nowhere, there is no evidence to that. I can vouch for that because I have researched that and I have not seen any to that effect. And when Remy said that P2B said that Yoruba women wanted to overthrow him in Anambra State, Okendibe, who is my friend and brother, never wrote that article and he never made that assertion. Maybe Remy is referring to something.
I will get your email from Rudolph and then forward the article to you.
Okay, I will greatly appreciate that. So, but the point is, if anybody says that that Lagos is a no man's land, Lagos is not a no man's land. There were people living there before the white men came. And there are people still living there today. But I would like to see, if somebody calls my home a no man's land, the person is just talking. That wouldn't even mean anything to me. So the Lagos, I am saying now, if this is what the bone of contention for Ayo, because I don't believe that every Yoruba man sees this as his bone of contention. If this is a bone of contention for Ayo, I am telling you, my brother, Lagos is not a no man's land. Lagos belongs to the Yorubas. We accept that. And that is a fact. But the accident that brought us together as Nigerians has made it imperative that every other Nigerian, when Lagos became a capital, that every other Nigerian could go to the capital city. Because the British did a number on us. The number they did on us is that they localized everything in a place. And every other person that wants the favor from the government comes very close to where the favor is. And we should not lose sight of the fact that Lagos had better infrastructure than every other state in Nigeria put together, except when Abuja was built. And business and trade goes to where infrastructure is that supports the business. So that every other Nigerian and the majority of the people that do trade, the Igbos, that they will move in droves to Lagos is imperative. And that there will be skirmishes with the locals is normal. But what intelligence teaches us over time is that we could peacefully resolve those differences. That's why the law is important. That anybody who commits a crime in Lagos faces the law. If we are able to build a country where that becomes the case, we will not be sitting here arguing whether Lagos is a no man's land or not. The people that own Lagos know that they own Lagos. And I don't see an Igbo man coming to take over Lagos from them. Badebo Viva Road is a son of Yoruba land. And for me, he has absolute right to vie for governorship anywhere in Nigeria. Whether the people vote for him is another thing. But that he has this right and that he should not be delegitimized because of where he comes from, this nativism and this nationality or this patriotism, false patriotism that we carry about. We should remember that patriotism happens to be the last refuge of the scoundrel. I will end my point here. So when we say the character of a people, there is nothing like a character of a people. Stereotyping the people is absolutely wrong. Stereotyping is wrong everywhere. People could say it used to be the scientific way. That's why African Americans are fighting the police, because the police stereotypes African American. When you catch a thief, you will say he's a black male, and that was used to lock up over 1 million black males in prison today in America. We know it's the remnant of slavery. So, and that's why we are fighting today, that we should stop stereotyping each other, because stereotype and xenophobia is the shortest route to genocide. And what is genocide? Genocide happens when xenophobia gains political power. I am done.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to thank Ayo, Chief Remy, and Franklin for a wonderful debate. I wish we could have more time to engage all of you. But we're going to now have our audience join by giving them a chance to ask questions. And when I call you, please go straight to the question so that we have time to get more people in. I will start with you, Show. So the question could go to anybody, any of the...
Good evening, Rudolph.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Good evening, Rudolph, and evening to the three gentlemen who've come to speak to us today. Listen carefully. Quite interesting debate. I'll probably come back, Rudolph, to share my view, because you said this is for questions. But the question I have for my Oduduwa brothers is: do our political elite, the Yoruba ones, the Tinubus, the Akeredolus, the whoever, the who and who of the Yoruba political class, do they share your view? And do they share it at all times, or does this come up every 4 years? Because all I see is Tinubu ambition was carried on the head by Ojus or Kalu, who's fighting to be the Senate president. Tinubu has no issues with him, at least not in public. So we see these people get on very well. There's no issue to us, the common men, of them having this issue. Tinubu doesn't fear that Lagos is going to be taken away from him. Well, not until he lost the election in Lagos, but he doesn't seem to share this, at least not in public. Probably you know more. Do you think our political class care? Do you think they worry like you care about it? Or is this just something divide and rule that we've seen time and time again? Thank you.
Well, Ayo, please allow me to answer this. Go and Google my name, Remi Oyeyemi. I've probably written more articles against Tinubu than anybody in Nigeria. I've done that. Go and Google it because internet does not forget. Why do I do that? Because I don't believe in his political ideology. So, but when the campaign season started, and I saw the kind of attacks against Tinubu coming from the Igbos, that's what gave me the reason to support him. Because I felt it's unfair. I wrote on my first book page that we should treat every candidate equally. So if we attack Tinubu, we should be able to see what is wrong with Obi and see what is wrong with Atiku. And Atiku was my former boss. I know Obi very well. Myself and Peter Obi, we won Atiku's campaign in 2018. We went everywhere together. So I know the three players very, very closely. But I did not support any of them until I saw the unfair attacks on Tinubu coming mainly from the Igbos. Then I read some minutes into it. So as I'm talking to you, I don't think Tinubu shares my view. I don't think he likes me. And I don't want him to like me. But I do things that I believe in. As long as I believe in it, I'm all on it. So I can even tell you, though that's a speculation, that if he gets there, he's not going to do anything for Yoruba nation. And I will not be disappointed. But the truth must be told. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. So if we are criticizing Atiku, we must use the same criteria for Atiku, for Obi, for Tinubu. That's just it. But I don't think he will share my own view, and I don't think he will share your view either. But I can speak on that.
Thank you, Chiboye. That is the irony of the whole thing. The question asked by Show is the irony of the whole thing. If you Google my name to Ayo Totin, some of the first thing that will pop up are some of the write-offs I did against Tinubu. So it is not about the political class, because the political class is just an interest group that cross all over the place, for their selfish interest. They are not about the people. And that's why I keep saying that this issue predates this political season. It has always been there. And it's an issue we can address at our own level, not for politics. The fundamental problem I know is the structure of Nigeria itself is fundamentally defective. No two countries like Nigeria, and no country ever, structure Nigeria will ever succeed that is not dysfunctional, if there is any. And it is by that analogy that I made that you have a bowl and you have 10 FT rams drinking from the same bowl, and you don't expect them to lock horns. They will. That is why Canada has different constitution for different speaking area. Switzerland have different constitution. Germany has 6 constitutions. You see, every functional country in the world, they find a way around allowing their different interests, either religion or ethnic, from locking us. In India, with over 1,000 ethnic groups, they try to create their state along the ethnic lines. So contiguous one can agree and form a state together. So they have something in common amongst them. So there's no tension. If Abuja is decentralized, it's not so much power or warehouse for stolen wealth, there will be so much problem in Nigeria because we are not fighting for that power, the ultimate. A Nigerian president is probably more powerful than any other president because he is head of military, head of INEC, head of CBN, head of everything. He's the constitution. He's a constitutional dictator, a Nigerian president. And because of so much power concentrated in Abuja, everybody wants to go there. it becomes a problem. Oh, that person must be my people. That person must be my people. It is our turn. And then they forget about we, the people, the original we, the people. I speak from the perspective of the ordinary Yoruba person on the street, not those people. I can assure you of that. I have no interest in any of the political party and I don't even believe in political party because they're always crossing all over the place, jumping and jumping and jumping. I just look at people at every point in time. While they were doing APC primary, I was for Shibajo because I know he was already positioned for that position. He works in Aso Rock, is brilliant. If I don't like him, I will say no. So I thought they should have given him the ticket. He did not get the ticket. I look at the 3 leading candidates. I did my assessment. I don't think it's fairly okay for power to go back to the north. It should come to the south. Iwe will be antecedents as a governor. Tinubu will be probably have 8 years as governor. And Iwe, Tinubu's antecedent. Corruption I discount because they are all corrupt and I have my facts that I can prove. So, but when you look at policy matter, I just say, okay, this guy, this thief will still steal our money anyway, but it's good when it comes to policy issue. Obi, I don't really think I like what came from Anambra. So it's not based on any sentiment. That is just my personal assessment. I might be wrong, and I'm willing to admit that I might be wrong on that. But I don't want anybody, because this man, Tinubu, that you guys are talking about, this chief that made me and myself, we have written so much against him. And it's on the internet. The internet don't lie. You guys will find it there. So it's not about him at all. It's not about his presidency. It's about how to make it better for the rest of us, the hardworking. And those of us in the diaspora, we want a home we can go back to. So that is what we need to start working towards. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Sure, thank you so much for that question. Let's go to Mo and then go that way. Mo, you're next.
Thank you, Rudolph. Thank you all. Listening to what the guests have said, and I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed that at this time we're still saying certain things. We shouldn't. Even when we have it in ourselves, we can restrain ourselves. Sometimes we have to chew on words before we say it. This idea of grouping people, the Igbo, by the way, Igbo has no plural with S. Igbo is Igbo. Just like my Yoruba friends use Yoruba. I never heard them use Yorubas. It's Igbo is Igbo. Thank you. So that should stop. Obunweze said it very clearly. We should stop it. Not just for Igbo, for Yoruba, for Hausa. Growing up, one had Hausa Fulani. Now we have split it without knowing. It has become Fulani and Hausa. So we have to educate ourselves every time. Let's try to temper these things cruelly. I can give you a lot of examples of people. What we're saying now about Lagos shouldn't be out there. But people are using it for their political gain. It is understandable. But let's not fan it. If somebody said that Tinubu is from Osun as a political leverage, that's fine. That's a fact. If you said that, what's his name? JRV, his mother is Igbo, his mother, that's okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The problem is when you act on it, when you use it to tag people what they are not, then you are looking for trouble. Again, Remy, I don't know if you remember me, since 20 years ago, we went through some of the things you said. I wrote you personally. I published your work at Pony.com. And I tried to correct you that the invasion did not have anything to do with the Yoruba. Ojukwu was reluctant to do it. Banjo, and so I have and the man died. So Inka said it all there. Don't quote me. Read the man died. He, Banjo, Ifajuna, Abam, they planned it. It was the third force. They planned to take over, kill Ojukwu, kill Gowon, and then restore Nigeria. Ojukwu, Soka did not hide it. When he got to Ore, he called Obasanjo, who was part of the team. That's why they are still fighting today. So Inka and Obasanjo, the problem dates back to the fact that Obasanjo walked out and started working with Gowon, feeding him the information. Banjo was not stopped at Ore. Banjo stopped at Ore because Obasanjo said, you cannot come in with Igbo soldiers in Lagos. We have to prepare the ground. Meanwhile, they were forming the second division. So Biafran soldiers went to Genebode, to Auchi, to all over the place because they didn't want to leave Ore. If they had left Ore, they would run over Lagos in the next few days. Like I wrote in my book, that was when Biafra lost the war. That stretched them thin. They didn't have much. And they used what they have to invade, to give Banjo. Ojukwu wrote a letter. It was documented to Banjo, who is his best friend, by the way. Remember, he was locked up in Enugu for trying to kill Ironsi. That's why he ended up in Enugu. So we know this history. Please stop giving the idea that the
That is
Yoruba...
not the narrative given by General Bajowa. General Bajowa's narrative, who actually he was the one who led the war.
I'm not. Let me finish. Let me finish. Bajowa did not lead anything. Let me tell you the story.
If you read General
Murtala that did the pushback, it was Banjo that led the force. So Inca's book is there. I have it here. And the man died. Let me leave it to you. Okay, look at it. It's here.
I have a copy and I've read it.
Read it. And Banjo of Soinka will tell you he was in Enugu to recruit. What's the poet's name? Pius Okibo, who was his friend, who said, my head is not, I'm not doing it. And then the kid, Nzog was supposed to lead it, they killed him. Okay? So Banjo, it was never anything planned to take over Yoruba land. I understand somebody from Benin, from Midwest, arguing this issue because they were taken over and made into Republic of Benin and Major Koko took over. Yes, I understand the Midwest. That Western campaign was a mistake from my own perspective. But then hindsight is 2020. So I understand what you are saying. Let us not say that again. You see, when you group people that way,
it's better left alone. Ogamo,
exactly, just leave it alone.
That thing you are saying is written in Ojukwu said they will take over Lagos. Yoruba will come and negotiate with him. I have
no way. That is please. Ayo, you are a lawyer. You have said so many things here that is absolute false. Okay, please let's leave it at that.
Mr. Mo,
it's not true.
Remember, I think Rudolph remember.
He said Yoruba we have to negotiate their freedom from him.
Ayo, hold on.
There was nowhere. Let me finish now. My turn. Okay. When I finish, I'll leave you guys alone. When I finish, please, Remy, please stop.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go
What you are saying is absolutely false.
It's not false. That's the truth.
What exactly?
Will you please stop? There was
what is false? What is
invasion of Western region is false. West was not invaded.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that already. I didn't know that already. It's in Imo State.
Oh, sure. You see. That's why I can't interview with
you. You say that the invasion of the West is not possible. Number one, you are here. You just said you.
I live in Lagos. I tell you, Osho was attacked by Ojuku's bomb.
Rudolph, could you stop these guys, please? Let me talk. Just mute them. Just mute them. I can't chase after every man talk. I can't get what I'm doing.
You are peddling falsehood.
Okay,
stop them. Stop them for a while.
Hold on, everyone.
I just now tell you a story that I know.
Let's
okay, so if I want to, I walk away from it. You said they bombed Ikeja. Yes, Johnny bombed Ikeja. So bloody what? It was a war. So you want to? I don't know why you keep saying it. As if
hold on.
As if the bombing of
the civil war issue will bring a lot.
Hold on.
Then let me educate you. Just wait. Just cool down. Okay. Fact is fact. If they bombed Ikeja and it's true. They killed people in Asaba. The first victim was Babangida's father-in-law. It's a fact. They bombed churches. Egyptian air pilots with Russian illusion fighters bombed marketplaces, refugee camps. It's a fact. So stop saying this idea like people met at night and say, oh, let's go and bomb Ikeja this morning. It didn't happen. It was a wartime. So leave it alone. Cure yourself of this hate that you peddle around. We talked about this 20 years ago. I don't know why you say carrying it along and hurting yourself. Let me move on from that. Just about that. Read Wole Soyinka. He will tell you about the third force. Okay? He'll tell the truth. Now, this is the clearest form of exhibition of identity I've ever seen. You cannot talk about Lagos in this way. We know why Lagos is there. We know what it represents. Let's not fight it. Like Rudolph said, in 200 years, if we come back again, we will not even recognize Lagos. It will be so changed. The level of intermarriage going on is so high, you wouldn't even believe it. If you look at Davido was born a US citizen, born in USA. His grandmother is Igbo. His mother is Edo. He's 1/4 Igbo, 1/4 Yoruba. His wife is Igbo. When he has a child, that child is still going to be Yoruba, right? We know these things. So why are we killing ourselves? What we are going to find out is, let's find out how we can make this thing work. First is this, the rule of law. If we have the rule of law, Dr. Bungo said it right. When we have the rule of law applying to everybody, there will be peace. When you get up from your house and go to Born and Alaba Market, you go to jail. And somebody will not do it again. That's what it takes. Rule of law. Another one is this. Lagos is not the best of places. When I came back to Nigeria, I was serving in Lagos. I said, no, send me anywhere but Lagos. They sent me to River State. I didn't like it. I went to Kaduna. I served in Jaji and I enjoyed it. The best years I have of my life. I enjoyed it. Nigeria is a great place. Nigerians are great people. Nigerians don't. The Igbo and Yoruba do not have a problem. They never. My best friend in high school, he's a Yoruba man. Go to Enugu, you will see a senator, Yoruba woman running for the Senate under one of these small parties. It's not a problem. The first mayor of Enugu, an Hausa man. What are we talking about? Lagos, Mbono Jike, one from there, Zik, one from there. Who made Zik? How about Macaulay, a Yoruba man? We don't talk about good things about ourselves. Victor Laye, what is Sango Molanke in Igbo? That's what unites us. When I came back, I said, that's to Shina Peters. They don't ask you if it is Yoruba is singing. They love the music. Look at Kiss. The kind of music they sing. Nobody knows what Buga is, unless you tell them it's Yoruba. Okay? Look at everybody coming together. Lagos used to be high life. The moment who goes to the market to sell, just want to go there, come back, enjoy life. Yes, if it's loud, so bloody what? If it's the no-noise zone, tell him to shut up. Lock him up, give him a fine. So let's not do this to ourselves. It doesn't help. One good thing we have to do, because if that's something Ojukwu said, he said we have to stay slightly apart so we don't get burnt by the friction of our togetherness. Lagos is becoming too oppressive. Transport, everything. What we can do in Nigeria, no matter this power, apart from rule of law, is to decentralize the airport system. Let's look at, you land with Ethiopia in Lome. You have to land in Lagos before going to Enugu. We are in ECOWAS. Why don't you fly from Lome straight to Enugu? It's about an hour. You have to land in Lagos, a few minutes, then take off again. Let's have a seaport open. Port Harcourt, Calabar, Warri. So people can import stuff and export stuff. Why don't you have a red line between Ibadan and the Ogoja across Enugu Onitsha? These are things we should be talking about. It will bring love, peace. It will bring prosperity. It will expand. In the next 100 years, all of us here won't be here, definitely. We won't be here. New people will come. We don't even know who they are. When the Benin came to Lagos, which they call Eko, on their way to Accra, to Akan, Ghana, they call it Eko, a camp. Their worries, the Jebus, the other people have been coming and going. So please, guys, let us find it in ourselves to look for those things who unite us. They said, Zig said, let's forget about this, and Tadona said, let's. I'm saying, let us embrace and use our diversity. Let it strengthen us. Let us find a way to use it. Let's not take time to open up old wounds, to open up things that we didn't even understand. We can study history, but not here. Here is what do we do to prevent Lagos from being what we don't want. Please, guys, if there is anything you want to say from me today, please stop saying Igbo people. Igbo people do not meet. The Igbos have never had a leader in my life. And I'm old enough. We never have a leader. Aziki was not a leader. He was made by a Yoruba man. Zik was, Ojukwu was more Yoruba person than Igbo. Ojukwu didn't even speak Igbo when he was made a governor. They're pure Eko boy. He was born in Zungeru. So please, let's understand our Nzogu. Kaduna Nzogu doesn't even speak Igbo. He spoke their dialect. Because that's what they speak at home. People who know him. Never lived in the South. His name is even Kaduna. So please, we can do this. We can leave the next generation something to remember us by.
I'm sorry, I'm going to leave very soon. If you are not timing.
Yeah, I'm leaving too. You have the day.
You said I'm ignorant. I consider get to it. We are loonies. That Rudolph should move to us. It's all here. You are talking like
I'm not doubting
critical. And that is the problem. You wrote all this kind of nonsense here. You call me a loony. You say we are loonies. You just brought your people. You say we are ignorant. You use some kind of plastic words. And you're not talking here like you are being reconciliatory. It is people like you that is causing problem between us. People like
Thank you. Thank you.
You are lying.
Then take people like me away. I'm telling you the truth. The truth you want to hear.
He's a loony. Buddha, please stop him. Buddha, please block him. Why are you saying that? And you are an elderly person. I don't want to sit down and listen to this nonsense. I want to listen to those who are
at the time you were behaving like a lunatic.
Tell me you are an elderly person. You said you are holding up. You are not behaving like you are holding up. How can you use so much abusive words? You put it down here in writing. I've captured everything, and you are now talking like you want to preach peace. You are being hypocritical. You will leave this forum now and go and say there's one Remy and Ayo that are abusing Igbo people. That is what people like you do. That's a shame.
All right. Thank you, Mo. Thank you, everybody. Let's go to Ngozika. Ngozika.
Good evening, Doc. Good evening, everyone in the studio. I followed the show from the time you started. I was in the audience typing away at my own comments. So let me quickly ask my question. Can we ask more than one question?
No, one.
Or is it just one? Okay.
One, yeah.
But we can come back later. Later
on, yeah.
So I am hoping Mr. Ayo or Mr. Remy will answer me this question. So first of all, thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time to come to this show. Really, we need to do more of this. So I want to ask Mr. Yemi, Mr. Remy, or Mr. Ayo. Mr. Franklin said it. He kept referencing genocide, and he did that because of the narratives Mr. Ayo and Mr. Remy were pushing out. They kept using certain words, and he told them clearly that because of the work he did, he knew that these were pointers, that this is usually how genocide starts. They tried to misconstruct what he said, and he tried to tell them exactly what he was saying. So I want to ask Mr. Yemi, did it make you uncomfortable when Mr. Franklin pointed out that you were making narratives that fuel genotype? Did it make you uncomfortable? And how do you feel to have found yourself in such a position? That is what I want to ask.
Hold on. Remy, hold on. I think you are muted. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
Number one, I don't feel uncomfortable at all. I just feel Mr. Franklin is very hypocritical and dishonest. Why? You see, the Yoruba says, there is no smoke without fire. All these things that have been happening is because of certain things. All these reactions by the Yoruba people on the street is caused by certain things. Instead of Franklin to address those things and say, okay, how do we address those things so that there can be harmony and progress? He was dancing all over the place, not addressing the issues. And I think that's hypocritical. You can talk about genocide all you want, but some people are fueling it by their attitude, by their utterances, and by their actions. So all of us can decide to be ostrich, bury our heads in the sand, and pretend. But we have to be honest with each other. We have to be brutally honest. So I'm not discomforted at all because, well,
please, I just wanted to point out that, sorry, Doc, I just wanted to point out that Mr. Franklin did speak to your grievances. He did point out, you said, Mr. Ayo did say that the people, the masses, the feeling among the Yoruba masses was that the Igbos were calling Lagos a no man's land. That is their grouse. And he said, and I quote, if they called Lagos a no man's land, Lagos is not a no man's land. Call their own place a no man's land. It is a narrative. So we shouldn't go to war because of narrative. He said that. So you're saying he was dismissive of your grievances? I do not get, because he did act, unless you have another grievance that you did not say on the show. Do you?
All right.
Is that a question for me?
Ayo, you can weigh in if you have anything to add to Ngozika's.
The thing is, I choose my word carefully. and I feel no regret for everything I've said here today, because you wanted the truth, and I'm here to speak the truth. And a reflection of what we are discussing here is happening as we speak. Look at the comment section. You will see this is more like a Biafra forum now. You will see the way they are hauling insults. You know, the moderation I've been on many fora, you know, like this on Zoom or something, participated. The moderators too will try and monitor what everybody is saying. Whoever is being abusive to panelists is either censored or removed. Of all the comments here, 99.9% are abusive. And 99.9% of them are against myself and Chief Oyeyemi. And that is a sample of what is happening on the street of Lagos. You see it here right now. The language they are using, fake lawyer, made in lawyer, shut up, victim, they are loonies, they are crazy. Is this an intellectual forum? Rudolph, are you reading the comment section? Did you see it there? That is a reflection of what is happening on the street. You know, some bunch of wayward and uncontrollable people. And they are making the rest of other people who are intellectual, they look bad. So why would I want to regret that I'm saying what I'm saying when it's right here being proven? Everything I've been saying is being proven by the comment section. Go through it. None of them is talking anything intelligent or intelligent contribution being made in the comment or raising issue that is historical. All they are saying is they are just abusing the rest of us. Oh, look at he's stupid. Stop that, Ayo. He's a loony. He's crazy. He's a fake lawyer. You yourself, you'll be ashamed of yourself. Look, just look at it. Do you think if you present this thing in a video now and present it to neutral people, say in Kenya, and you ask them to read, and they know the orientation that 99.9% of our audience are Igbo people, and what they are doing is assaulting and insulting your guests that you have invited to come and participate because you want to listen to their perspective. And that is what they have done. So and that is a reflection of what you've seen on the streets. So the case already speaks for itself. So why should I have any sense of remorse? Now, if I react now,
but you did not answer my second question.
Wait, if I react to this kind of nonsense that is being written here, will frankly now say, oh, I'm being genocidal by referring to these people that, can you see these people? That will now take the word. When you start calling people these people, is genocidal. And that is what we are saying. If you cannot, this is an intellectual forum. If you take about 3 hours of your day, for me, Friday is a prime time. I'm doing for old friendship's sake that Rudolph is to me. Friday is prime time for me. I do a lot of work on Friday. And I come here, I know it's a very sensitive topic. I could have avoided it because I told him why I avoided something has invited me to. When he started this, he told me about it and invited me the very first day, but I wasn't able to make it. And the other one I cleverly run from, I told him why. And this is part of the issue now. It's here. Well, because you have to talk of already biased audience that are not ready to listen to you. At least you can make a constructive criticism or argument against whatever I'm saying that you don't like. One, don't try to change my narrative to something I did not say, because this is internet, it doesn't forget. Two, don't just start making caustic, abusive comments. Try and be intellectual a little bit if you have anything in your head. Showcase it that, okay, don't come and put abusive nonsense here and start attacking people. And that is what is happening on the street. When people protest, there is a siege from somewhere. They call themselves. You see it on Twitter. You see it on Facebook. I have over 20,000 followership on Facebook. I see that. So when I engage people, what do you mean by this? When I see that they are uncontrollable, I started blocking everybody. You don't have to follow me. Go away. If you want to intellectually engage me, I'm willing to engage you. But if you want to come to my wall and abuse me, it's easier. I delete you, period. So I don't have that power to do that here, but after go through everything here and see what a reflection of what is happening in Nigeria is. Thank you.
Right,
like I told you, I can't stay the rest of the 3 hours.
I know.
Very soon I'm going to leave.
So they didn't answer my second question. They didn't.
Oh, sorry, Ngozi. What was the second question?
I said you. Okay. Sorry. I was asking the.
Already started, but I want to get to other people because we can.
Oh, please. So sorry about this. I just wanted, because they keep hammering on this. He said that Mr. Franklin is being dismissive of the issue, which is the grievance, and which he says is the base for provocation and which could lead to a genocide. I'm just trying to align everything they said to frame it in one question. So I was asking him, I was telling him that I did follow the show and Mr. Franklin did address the grievance. Is it that particular grievance, or is there something else? Is there any other grievance he wants to tell us that he did not mention that is fueling this narrative that Mr. Franklin is pointing them to stop using? That is just what I'm asking. Is there any other grievance that you are not telling us, or is it the one he has already addressed?
Well, you might think he has addressed it. In his concluding statement, he did say very nice things expected of an intellectual, but the core is the denier. When you deny that Obi did not say Lagos is no man's land, or that it's not being said by people who shouldn't be saying that. People on the street can say anything they want. You understand? But when it comes from certain quarters, it may mean something more than that. And this thing has been persistent. It's been an issue. It's all over the internet. So the issue I have with Franklin is trying to say, oh, it didn't happen that way. No, that is not true. Those deniers, those facts we cannot bring together here. I'm ready to take the challenge up for everything I've said there. If anybody wants facts, I argue with facts. So you can reconvene this thing as long as Rudy is ready to control the people. I'm going to bring, we will share our screen, and bring up facts. So we compare facts to facts. That's how I work. That's the nature of my job. Right. So there's nothing I'm saying that I cannot prove. So that's why I said it's not admitting it. It's nice for you to say, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. We should work together. And myself, I identified that fact that one-on-one, we really don't have problem. If we enter club today, you are buying drinks for each other. Most of the people I probably see when I go tonight are my Igbo friends in the area. So who cares? You will know that we have firework here on the internet today. But on a Nigeria corporate issue, is going to continue to happen that way. And we need to admit those things first that is happening. If you don't admit it and you now concentrate on reaction, when you don't talk about the action that causes reaction, that is not only dismissive, it's like dodging the issue, and it's not right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Rudolph, I have something to ask you.
Okay.
When we were on the Nigerian Village Squad, do you remember the piece I wrote about Ojukwu?
I know there was something. Yeah, I don't remember details.
When he promised that he would write a memoir when I interviewed him. And because I was involved, came out, I was totally disappointed. Because there's some gray areas that he needed to clarify for posterity. I've read almost everything available. I don't think I've read everything, but almost everything available on the Civil War. But I believe that we can always learn from the mistake of our elders. In fact, I don't need anybody to convince me that what the North did to the Igbos was wrong after I listened to Joseph Gaba live, and then I interviewed him. So I don't need anybody to convince me. Now, the point is this. All those kids, I will call them kids, writing on the comment section, they don't know what they are talking about. When I wrote about Kanu, what I wrote about him, no Igbo man has ever written it. No Igbo man has ever written it. The article went viral and everybody loved it. And some Yoruba people were even asking me, why are you writing such a thing? I'm a very objective mind. Very objective mind. You may not like my position, that is okay. But as long as I believe in it, I'm not going to change it.
All right.
But the bottom line is this, and that's what I want Franklin, my friend, to do. No matter how beautiful, how logical, how reasonable your pleadings, your sermons about what we need to do is, it will not work unless we address the causality. We have to address it, though. You guys may not like it, but we must address it, because if we don't address it, we keep coming back to the same issue.
And what are these causes? What are they?
Exactly. You cannot come to my land and start showing braggadocio, telling Oba Ofeko to go to hell, telling us that Yoruba land is a no man's land, telling us that, okay, we have bought all your property, we gave you money, I went to use it to drink beer or whatever, even if that is true. I don't know if it is true. So coming to my land, to my house, to insult me, to disrespect me because you think because you got some money and you bought land. What I mean, you build houses. What is a house? Eh, anyway, I don't want to go into some details. Let me just leave it like that. But the bottom line is this: unless we address the issues, the disrespect of Yoruba people in Lagos or any other place, it's going to lead to crisis, whether you like it or not. You have to address that. If you're not ready to address that, whatever you say, all the preachments is nonsense. It's like putting water at the back of the calabash. It's not going to enter.
Thank you.
For us to have peace, I'm sorry, Gary, just give me 30 seconds. For us to have peace, let us be honest. Let us come together. Like I told you, I have one niece, one nephew, whose moms are Igbo. Igbo was my father's caretaker for 25 years in Ilesha. For 25 years. Charlie, Rose, and Stella, I see my brothers see tomorrow. They took me to Owerri for holiday. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm not biased, but we have to say the truth. And the truth, most of the times, is uncomfortable. If you don't address the issues, forget it. Thank you.
Thank you, Remy. I have to promise our audience that we have to have part 2 of this conversation because we don't have enough time. ABK is joining us from Nigeria. I would like him to speak, but Franklin, respond first, and then ABK, you speak.
Well, yeah, because everybody threw in Ayo and Remy threw in a lot of things together. This is why I said we should watch the words we use. For example, Ayo made a very important point when he said we should address the causes of all these problems, and he mentioned braggadocio as one of the things that Igbos do in Lagos that shouldn't be. He mentioned telling the Oba of Lagos to go to hell. I wonder who said that. And he mentioned calling Lagos a no man's land. And then he mentioned disrespect for Yoruba people. First of all, it will not be dismissive of me to say, I am trained in law like Ayo. I have not seen anywhere where braggadocio is a crime or whatever it is. I have not seen that. But it is cultural sensitivity for Igbos living in Lagos to respect the owners of the land. That's what I would advise my brothers. That's what Chinua Achebe even talked about in Trouble with Nigeria. That the Igbo man should stop the noisy exhibitionism that attracts the envy of others is what the Igbos must do. It's cultural sensitivity. It may not be a crime, but for peaceful coexistence, the Igbos must learn too to respect the people and not rub their success in their faces because it gets people angry. We are all human. I understand that on that point. I believe that Remy is correct. I wonder who told the Oba of Lagos to go to hell. That is even an insult under our constitution. That person should be taken.
They've said it on this platform. They said it on this platform.
Here on this platform. Here. That person is not. Yeah. That person should be removed because you don't insult people. I live in Germany.
He was cheered on. He was cheered on when he said it. He was cheered on.
Cheered on by who?
One man, the one you say in your platform about people call.
Okay, so let me finish. The points I live in Germany, where the first article of the constitution is that the voted as mentions is unantastable. It means that the dignity of the human person is inviolable. If you insult anybody in this country, in Germany here, you will go to serious jail time. And that's what I should think. Respect for each other's dignity is a sine qua non if we are going to build a functional society. Another point, calling Lagos a no man's land. I told you, when Ayo said that I'm denying a statement of fact. My brother, you are a legal practitioner. I can deny a statement of fact. It now lies on you. You asserted, you must prove to bring evidence to the contrary that what I denied was wrong. You said that Obi called Lagos a no man's land. And I said, Peter Obi is nowhere on record that Peter Obi called Lagos a no man's land. There are others that have said it, but Peter Obi, no. And I am denying that because there is no evidence to that effect. So, and I will deny that tomorrow until you give me evidence to that effect, and then I will change my position. That's all I'm saying. So it's not hurting you or hurting the Yorubas when I make a statement of a fact that could be verified. Peter Obi never said that, and we should not put it in his mouth. If somebody came up tomorrow and told me that Awolowo said that every Igbo should die, I would say it's not true because there's no evidence to that effect. And that's what intelligent minds should do. About disrespecting the natives anywhere, it's not done. So the Igbos should learn to respect the Yoruba should equally learn to respect the Igbos. We should respect each other as human individuals, human beings, because that's what we are. Underneath our skin, we all is the same red blood that flows. We don't even know who a Yoruba man is. If you skin him alive, you don't even know who an Igbo man is. An Igbo man will walk in a hospital where a Yoruba man comes to buy things, to take treatment. The same may be the case. I was in London sometime, and I had to visit a friend in the hospital, and I got in there Yoruba doctors being so very proficient and attending to people courteously and being very professional. And I was so very proud to be a Nigerian. But I will come to my country and we are here arguing whether a Yoruba and Igbo man should live in peace together. And this is what upsets me. We should step over that and then pave the way for the future generations to teach them that we could build, let me give you guys a secret. I am in so many fora where white people make decisions about the world. And many of them believe that the black man cannot even think. And we are giving them evidence to that effect by the way we treat each other in Lagos or in Nigeria or any other place. We treat each other worse than animals could treat themselves. And I will tell people that nobody will respect an African until Nigeria becomes a first world nation. What are we doing to build Nigeria, make Nigeria a first world nation? By going into our ethnic cocoons? That will not do it for us. We will respect our diversities because there is power in diversity, even at the genetic level. But we have to rise above those petty ethnic atavisms that we clutch to, and then build a nation where law will rule, where merit should be the case, where people should respect each other because they are human beings, not because of where they come from. That's the only case I'm making in this debate. And let it be known that wherever you are commanded, not even by nature or nature's God, but by the fact that we are human, to respect the other person. And that's why, even though I'm debating in a very hot manner with Remi Oyeyemi and Ayo, I have been with Remi since Nigerian Village Square started. I was in Quenu.com since it started. I started with Pius Adesami, my bosom friend, until he died. So we can rise above our pettiness and create a country that could serve as a beacon of hope for every African everywhere. The black man has suffered. We were sold into slavery for 460 years, and we are still fighting about basic things that are not even necessary. It's time for Nigeria to rise, and we can only rise if we create a nation where ethnicity will never be the basis of judging anybody's character. Martin Luther King Jr. said it, that he wants a nation where his kids will not be judged by the color of their skin. I want a Nigeria where my kids will not be judged by the ethnicity they came from, but by the contents of their character. That's what every Nigerian should aspire to. And that's the case I'm making in this debate.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me go to BK. BK, don't go, please. I know you hardly do you say something. Go ahead.
I have to leave.
Oh, Yemi, you have to.
I'm here.
Okay. Okay. BK, if you have to leave,
Doc, can I speak?
Yeah, you can speak. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Go ahead, BK.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen. I think this conversation has been very interesting and a lot of emotions. Two things I have to say here. One is that the issue of what is happening in Lagos here is quite troubling. And I don't think as a collective, the Yorubas and the Igbos have any issue. On individual level, yes, there might be some. So most of the grievances here, apart from the Lagos and no man's land issue, which have been an age-long debate, most of others are actually just social media gossips. So on this election, what is really fueling this crisis here? There are two things. One, the social media, which encourages this more portion. And two, politics. The politics here is, there are two parties, major parties, the APC and the Labour Party. Both of them, whether we like it or not, are driven by ethnic sentiments. APC, you know, the southwest part of the APC is ACN. We all know it's a regional party. And their campaign had already been based on this whipping up regional sentiments. That is how they have held the southwest for all these years. They now came in Labour Party, which is now being propelled by majorly by Southeasterners, which we say Igbos, majorly. So there's this clash here, which is creating this unnecessary tension. Each of these parties want to hold on. The APC want to hold on to Lagos. The Labour want to dislodge. and both of them are coming in, pushing the agenda, using their own, rallying their base, the Labour Party base, which is the Igbos, the APC base in the Southwest, which are the Yorubas. So until we begin to see politics as a call to service and not really this do or die thing, this thing we exacerbate. I'm afraid to say so. It will definitely exacerbate. We see a lot of talks about this Igbos being too noisy and the rest, Yorubas being lazy. These are just things that are said for political sake. If you say the Igbos are noisy, yes, like they said, they are business. They are business there in Lagos. Yes, these things are about to happen. But as a collective, there's really no issue. But when we begin to use this little difference at individual level, we elevate it to seem as if it's a collective. Igbos meet somewhere and decide to do this to Yorubas. Yorubas meet somewhere and decide to do this to Igbo. This is inevitably, this is where we're going to land ourselves. So to the issue here is, how do we actually de-escalate this tension? That is the point. That is the point that we should be discussing here. You can see the panelists and most people have already seem to have dug in to already held positions, and nobody is willing to yield. And if that's how this discussion will end, if intellectuals here cannot really discuss and come to an amicable resolution, okay, this is the problem and this is how we're going to solve it. If we fail to do that here, what's going to happen to those in the streets? You don't expect any better from them. So here we need to see that politics. Doc, please let me just make this point. Politics is the issue. Would you tone down the ethnic rhetorics we use in our politics, especially in these two major parties that are contesting for Lagos? And because the PDP, or you can say everything about the PDP, but one thing about them, one thing about the party, it has been built around this national consensus. Maybe I might be wrong, but I feel that's what I feel. That we build about this national consensus. But this APC, I cannot say the same of them. Labour Party, I cannot say the same, at least for now. And that is what is driving this unnecessary tension in Lagos State. I think if you can see how that can be de-escalated, I think gradually everything might come back to the way it used to be. And the two ethnic groups can continue to live together in peace and harmony within a prosperous Lagos State. I think that should be a way that should be something that should be considered as a part of the resolution of this issue that's happening in Lagos. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ebike.
Thank you, Ebike. I like your contribution.
Yeah. Okay. Any of the panelists? Any comments? Any of you have comments, or we go to the next person?
Yeah. Well, the case I wanted to make, he made excellent points on the issues of this being all about politics. I always say that the political class are there interacting with each other at another level, and then they will send their streets and their surrogates to be making trouble. It's about power, and we have to know. Now, Chomsky made it very clear. Power is a very violent institution, and unless power is controlled by the sovereign is the people of Nigeria. Okay, and these people should be allowed to elect who they want in a free and fair manner, which has not been the case in Nigeria at the moment. That's not the issue I want to get into. The Labour Party seems to be the new bride. And it's not about, I don't think that the Labour Party has an ethnic constitution. The only thing people could say is that Peter Obi being an Igbo man, that this may be the very first time an Igbo man has actually made a dash for the presidency. But the majority, the bulk of Labour Party supporters are Southwesterners, Yoruba young people, and people from the Midwest. They are the bulk of the supporters of Peter Obi. You could equally see that Peter Obi doesn't have the support of his home state governor. And the state governors in the Southeast, many of them don't support Peter Obi. We see that Hope Uzodinma is an Ogo, is an APC man. So if we are looking at the demographics that are supporting the Labour Party, these are the youth population of Nigeria across board. I never in my entire life dreamt that Peter Obi will win Nasarawa State. But these are the things that are happening. So we have to, APC issuing being a merger between ACN and the ANPP then, yeah, I can understand that. PDP have their, but PDP seems to have been skimmed out of the equation. Now the Labour Party seems to be the new bride. So the APC in Lagos is considering the Labour Party as an upstart that should not be allowed close to the corridors of power. You see that in politics. But what I want Nigerians to do, that we could play a politics that is devoid of this kind of narrative that could lead us to the brink of a very terrible situation. We could play, APC could tell Labour Party to go to hell for all they care, but don't walk on our primeval fault lines like ethnicity and religion. These are issues that where people close their eyes and then go to war, shut off their reason, and then go to war for nothing. So this is what I am pleading, that both parties, both politicians should hold their dogs in check, pull them back from this peddling this rhetoric, this narrative that is causing problems everywhere. They can attack each other on the issues. That's what politics should be.
All right, thank you, Franklin. Okay, so let me now go to Madam Echo. She came here first before anybody else. I'm sorry, CM and one man. We just have to go after Madam Echo, then CM, one man, and then we go to the rest. Go ahead.
You see, I'm really ashamed today. Those of you that have lived your year, you are about to go. And what you are leaving for my children is hatred and bitterness that started with our great father, and they didn't use it for anything. That's what led us to where you are today. I want to ask all of you one question. How many of you make a decision when you wanted to come to this world that you want to come through Yoruba, or you want to come through Igbo, or you want to come through Hausa? How many of you make that decision? Then secondly, how many of you make a decision to choose the state you want to come into this world to come and become? How many of you? So I'm so ashamed of all these elderly people that are quarter to go to the grave, leaving hatred and bitterness for us. I never knew that our constitution has changed to make the woman to be the head of the family. So that when an Igbo woman marry a Yoruba woman, automatically the child become an Igbo person. If that is the case, I think all women should go and change their name to their father's name, so that our children will start bearing our father's name. Because that is what all these men have come to this public to tell us. And we are going to take it with all gladness. Because you men, you have nothing but disgrace you brought to our nation. You've taught us nonsense. And you are making our children to fight each other for no reason. I beg una. Make una leave me and my children alone. Una dey hear? Leave me and my children alone. Let us fulfill our destiny. You people have already Mr. Woman, in your show, you talk about the Igbo with impunity, and you come here. You are talking of what? Let me tell you people, if you people won't stop this nonsense, you people are doing. All of una, Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, we go cut una come out from Nigeria. Make una dey una make we dey our own. Una call una self the majority, and yet you people are our trouble every blessed day. For how long? For how long? I am from Urobo. When Yoruba people want to make me look stupid, they go tell me, say, Urobo Wado is Urobo Wayo. How do you judge this? Then when they use the word though, they will turn it to sexual immorality, that have sex. Those are the things you people throw in my face as a Urobo woman. But you know what? I don't allow it to define me. What I allow to define me is what is here. So all this nonsense, stop it. There are only two tribes in Nigeria, and until we get that into our head, we won't stop this nonsense. The tribe of the oppressed and the tribe of the oppressors. And in the tribe of the oppressors, they marry themselves. They they go to party together. We are not qualified to be in their midst. The only thing that qualifies us to be in their midst is to become political thug or carry umbrella for their wife or their children. That is what we are qualified for. And we come here and put it to us. Stop it. If you don't want to stop me, leave me and my children alone. We will marry each other. We will fight for each other and will fulfill our destiny. Because you people, you are the element that the oppressors are using to divide us. During politics only when they are coming to use my children as orange, that is when they come and sow the seed, either religion or tribe. I refuse that for my children, and it will stop in 2023, whether you people like it or not. We are tired of you people. Leave us alone to fulfill our God-given destiny. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Mitchell. I don't know if Remy, Ayo, or Franklin, any of you, if you want to respond to her, you can. Otherwise, we'll move on to.
I have no response.
No, there's nothing to respond to.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Franklin.
Oh my God, Madam Mama H.O., that was powerful. I have never heard someone so passionate. Everything you said, I agree with. The politicians use us to divide, and then they will go to their enclave to enjoy the proceeds.
They don't.
And that's why today Nigeria is still a laughing stock of the
I have
world.
to speak for myself. Nobody uses me. Nobody. Okay. I say it openly. I can say it anywhere, anytime,
I am
any
not
day.
talking of you.
Hey, madam.
I am talking of Nigeria youth.
Madam,
I am talking of Nigeria youth that they
allow me to say my own.
Boys and girls. I am talking of Nigeria youth.
Madam, allow me to say my own. When you said your own,
Nigeria youth that they have turned to kidnapper. I am talking of Nigeria youth that they have stolen.
Madam, I was not even talking to you.
Because what God did not make them to do.
I was talking to my brother Franklin. I'm saying that nobody.
You have lived your life.
Yeah, Madam Mitchell.
Alone to fulfill destiny.
Madam Mitchell, thank you.
Yeah. Can you tell her to allow me to say my own?
Yeah.
I'm only responding to Mr. Franklin. And I'm saying, and I'm repeating it. Nobody uses me. Nobody. No matter how rich you are, you cannot use Remi Oyeyemi. I'm saying it, I'm beating my chest. So I follow what I believe.
Now?
I follow what I believe and I do what I believe in. So please. Thank you, Mr. Franklin.
Okay, thank you, my brother. Well, I was using us as a generic term. Politicians use those they can use, excluding Remy. So, and then they, at the end of the day, is power for themselves. I was making a point. The point is, 60 years after independence, we were like other countries that were colonized by the colonial masters. Malaysia, for example, Singapore, Korea. Where are these countries today? When we started, our GDP was greater than theirs. But today, Malaysia is a hub of production, manufacturing. Singapore is the financial capital of Southeast Asia and one of the first world nations. The Koreans, Samsung started as a fish company, and then they are now electronic giants. But where is Nigeria? We spent $10 billion at Ajaokuta still. Ajaokuta is not functioning until today. Do we have infrastructure roads? Where are they? But almost every politician, Nigeria is the only place where the richest people are not industrialists or entrepreneurs, but pastors and politicians, these two P's. Nigeria is the only place in the world where these two classes of human beings are the richest. Other societies, it is either the merchants or the industrialists. In Germany, the families that are wealthy are the old industrial families like the Krups and all the rest of them. Or the new people that got into the .com era and they made a lot of money. But in Nigeria, if you're a pastor, you go hammer today. If you're a politician, hey, it's taken us for granted that you'll be rich. Any politician that is rich or goes there to make money is a rogue. And that's what we allow because they divide us and we cannot come together with one voice to say enough is enough. And that's the danger that Labour Party with the youth demographic poses for these people today, that they are running from pillar to post. Is because of that. The politicians know. Because for the first time, you see a man that tells us, if anybody has seen me being corrupt, tell me, come to the public, I will stop campaigning. Nobody has taken him up on that challenge. If anybody has ever seen me take 1 cent from public purse, Let the person come out. I'll stop campaigning. I know they give shit. If I am in the car, they can only buy gas. This is the first time in the history of our country that a politician is saying that. And that's why the youth found him interesting. And they are following him. So the old guard know that if this guy gets into power, he will remove our mouths from the trough, from where we've been eating, because politics has been a career for them. And that's all this gang up about taking over and then not taking over. So that's why they're using this narrative. And then we should be intelligent enough to understand that. I'm done.
All right.
Rudolph, quickly, Rudolph, quickly. Let me just say this. I think we have been all over the place. Rudolph tailored the topic towards this election, what is going on in Lagos right now, and that was what I was prepared for. It's not that I'm not prompt to, I cannot address some of these issues, but if we continue to discuss all the problems of Nigeria, we won't leave this place today. My own thing is this. Nigeria is a fundamentally defective country. That's why it's dysfunctional. Our foundation is wrong. There's no country that is built in Nigeria that is working. The politicians are using that divide during election, but the problems are there because they are fundamental to be exploited by whoever, either in business, in politics, and whatever. Emotional fat operations and being partisan is not going to solve that problem. At the intellectual level, at least, we have to be honest with ourselves. It's not about preachments. It's not about this is what we are going to do. It's not going to happen if we don't give solution, practical way to do it. The people talk about change of mindset. Human beings are the same all over the world. It is the system that whip people to line. We have to use a working system. And that number one thing is we need to decentralize Nigeria. The thing that makes us fight is that Abuja is the warehouse where all the stolen wealth are taken and they divide it. Let each region go and develop at their own pace. That is my picture of Nigeria. Regarding this particular issue, that fundamental issue is being exploited, and no politician is better than the other. Obi can be saying that if anybody call me a thief today, I will. It depending on who is listening to, because a lot of people are calling him that he puts the state money in his bank. He went and invests in the brewery that is invested in. That is in America, he will be in jail. So he can be preaching that to the Marine, not to some of us who know how this thing works. So don't try to exonerate him. It's part of the clique. They are all thieves. As far as I'm concerned, they can sue me. So I discount that when I'm addressing corruption in Nigeria. I discount it and look at other things that people bring to the table. That's the way I address my issue. With particularity to Lagos, which is this issue, of course, there are competing interests in Lagos. Politics will always expand and escalate it. What we need to watch out for is how we address it and what our people say. Utterances, it's not even about the ability to even carry out what you are saying, but the fact that you are saying it can create a lot of problem. And that is why I made that example, practical example that is happening as we are speaking here. I believe whoever is creating 3 hours to come and listen to us talk is interested in something tangible. If you create 3 hours to come and attack people and keep making comments, he's stupid. You make like 100 comments, everything is abusive. Why are you just wasting your time? Is it not better if you are sleeping? When you are napping, your health is good, and you are using that to abuse and just wasting your time, then we don't care. You understand? So if that is happening here, imagine what is happening on the street, another forum. And that's in social media, you know how it works. It generates
please, I'm doing something.
Emotions will fly, and it keep mounting the problem that we are trying to solve. So let's package as a people. If there is a way we can do it, keep pushing a solution that we can all brainstorm about how to restructure Nigeria. Whoever we have a president-elect, we must have something we want to push for whoever is coming in. And so this is the problem of Nigeria. People are reacting to how they feel. You know, Igbo people feel they are marginalized. Yoruba people, they are threatened on their ancestral land. Hausa people think if they lose power, they have nothing in Nigeria again. There's nobody, and our Mama Echo that is speaking now. Our own problem is that they are corrupting our Yoruba name, and she want to beat the rest of us. So we have a problem.
My own problem na Nigeria youth.
You say because you don't like that one.
Because I know they tribalism like una. You know, yeah, and they call them my Nigeria children. But when I day here, they talk of Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa. Leave my children alone.
So anyway, as I was saying, let me round up. So I don't take too much time. So what I think we can take away from here, Rudolph, you know most of the people here, form a think tank team of Igbo and Yoruba. The people that you know have word and can reach out to people. Let's brainstorm. Don't bring nuisances to that meeting. Bring people who have something in their head to contribute.
Now,
let's sit down.
You see your language.
And then, yes, that's my language, ma'am. If this is being directed at you, if this thing here is being directed at you that you're fighting because they say the robo, you blow down the internet.
Okay, and you know what I'm saying is this.
Put people bring a ticket together. Okay, how do we address this issue?
Allow him to make his point. Allow him to make his
point. Like this. Then we can compromise. I'll come out with a paper. Okay, this is what we have discussed. Let's push this to our people. Okay, this is what people think from this perspective. This is what people think from this perspective. This is our recommendation. We can do it at our level. We are that to reach out to people, reach out to both sides, and have a compromise. That will be my own takeaway. That will be an achievement for this meeting, so it doesn't go to waste. You can come for the next time. If you call me for the follow-up on this, I promise to come, because we might leave some issue unattended. So that will be the takeaway. See how you can build on this with the aim of finding solution, rather for all of us to come here and do emotional operation and then go away. It doesn't help anybody. I don't want to waste my 3 hours doing nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo. Let me say, before we continue, let me say that I really appreciate. People don't know I'm friends with everybody. We say for many years, so it's not like I don't know these people. And it's also important to Ayo. I like your solution, what you suggested, and Remy can remember on Nigeria World, we actually ended up meeting each other and talking about the issues that we used to fight over online when we are writing. For you, Aya, let me just point out that because I think maybe you've not been on this platform. I've invited you several times. One of the things you do when you're a guest is you ignore what is going on in the comments section. You don't do that. You don't look at it while you're speaking. If you do that, that would be like and of course it happens to everybody. It's not just you, so it's not personal. I get attacked there all the time, but it shouldn't let that worry you. And I don't have the ability to moderate what's going on there while paying attention to what we're doing here on the. So that's the point I wanted to make. But Remy, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to piggyback on what the suggestion by Ayo, which I think is very, very fantastic. There are some things, Rudolph, I will not tell you on this platform. When we meet, the way we meet, I will talk to you about it. Because you are a brother to me, not even a friend. So, and then somebody will say, okay, because Igbo and Yoruba are fighting, I should go and kill Rudolph. They must be crazy. They are very, very crazy. But what I wanted to really talk about is this. I did the research. Anybody can do the same thing. The United Nations have indices of development. And on that list, there are 189 countries. Nigeria was number 185 on that list. So when I look at the list, I wanted to know what the first 25 are doing very well, that the last 25 are not doing at all. So in my research, reading about all of them, I found out that the first 25 have 3 things in common, which the last 25 does not have. They either have 1 of it or 2 of it, but they don't have the 3 of it. What are the 3 things? They speak one language. They have the same faith. and they are from the same ethnic group. Where the country is not of the same ethnic group, we have dominant ethnic group that is about 65 or 70% of the entire population. They speak the same language, they are of the same ethnic stock, and they practice the same faith. Then when you look at the last 25, they don't have any of these, any three or any of the three. I mean, sorry, they don't have all of the three. They have one or they have two. So in the suggestion made by Ayo, maybe we can form an intellectual think tank that will bring something meaningful out. So that we can look, okay, because I don't want war, I have to be honest with you. I can't kill my nieces and my niece and my nephew because their mother is Igbo. I can't do that. I'm not going to be fighting against Charles. If Charles speaks Ijesha for you, you are going to be surprised. We all grew up together. His dad was my guardian in high school, and he was the caretaker of my father's house for 25 years. So we have to prevent, because there is no way there is going to be war that won't kill those who are beloved to us. So what we need to do is to prevent it. Recognize the fact that, okay, there is a crisis, and these are the causalities of the crisis. We bring ourselves to address it and provide solutions. And the suggestion by Barrister Totin is very, very fantastic. And I know that Rudolph can coordinate this. So that's what I wanted to say.
All right, thank you. Franklin, then we'll go to CM. Local, we have to follow whether that people came in. We can't just jump to you. I know.
Sorry, actually, let me say something. Actually, it was supposed to be Bamayecho before me. If you remember, I was there earlier on. The system kicked me out and it brought me back. I'm just
all right.
If you don't want me, I can wait.
Also me. I was kicked out too, please. I was kicked out.
No, I know when you came in. I was supposed to be after Bamayecho.
Yes, you came before me. Local, you came before me.
Thank you.
So who came last? Who came last?
The man on the cap came last.
I've been calling in and out. I've been kicked out like 5 times. So that's why I've been raising my hand.
All right.
Okay.
Franklin.
Okay, what I wanted to say is that the suggestions are beautiful, but we have to know that there are a lot of high-level discussions going on between Afanifere and the Ohanese and all the rest of them. And there have been some, they have coalesced into a lot of committees that are working on the handshake across the Niger. We may not be seeing the results of that at the moment, but that doesn't mean that such things are not going on at some levels. But the more the merrier. The more the merrier. If people could start talking to each other, like I always say that, talking to each other. If the moment we stop talking to each other is the moment we start fighting each other. So, and it's not necessary to build a society. That's why the French created parliament, palais, where people go to talk. We talk it out. They can scream and shout each other down in the parliament. That's what happens in a debate. But at the end of the day, what happens in parliament remains there. And people go to construct societies that will carry and embody their aspirations. That's what I want to see for Nigeria. We are too talented of people to spend. We are spending our time attacking each other because our talent doesn't find expressions anywhere. Our government doesn't create the platforms necessary for us to actualize the talents, the latent talents in us. And that's why Franz Fanon said it. If you read that psychologist, The Wretched of the Earth, his opus magnus, he said, if suppressed fury fails to find an outlet, it will go in and devastate the oppressed themselves. And that's what is killing us. We are spending time battling Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba because our talents are lying fallow. We are not utilizing it. There is no opportunity. Let me tell you, give Nigerians 24-hour power supply today. I will tell you, Nigeria will become China in the next 20 years. The people don't want you to give them money. Create the platform. Nnamdi Azikiwe said it. The motto of his West African pilot was, show the light and the people will find their way. Nigerians are that talented. We can always find our way. Just give us the platforms. You will see these issues of tribe will disappear in a night. Give us good water supply. Give us good roads. And, I will always talk about infrastructure of integration. I live in Germany. While I was a student, I was traveling from Frankfurt 4 hours. I was on the train. Go to Berlin to chase a girl and come back. Party hard. Come back. Until we have that kind of infrastructure where a guy in Lagos can go to Enugu tomorrow morning and eat, point and kill, and go back to his base. We get to learn and know each other's culture. We get to see each other the way we are. That is infrastructure of integration. But we don't even have functional roads or rail. We don't. The airplanes are for the, for the rich. So these are the things we should start tasking our governments to create for us. Achebe was right. The trouble with Nigeria is not tribe. It's not the Hausa, the Fulani, or the Igbo. The trouble with Nigeria is simply and squarely the failure of leadership. Leaderships do it across board. Remy gave an example of countries that have made it, and what about Canada? In Canada, we have the Quebecians. Now they want to get out. Okay, they speak French. The other side speaks English. But these guys are highly developed because they are infrastructure and they integrate. So once they raise their voices, what are you raising your voice for? There are things for you to actualize yourself within your own space. And they are not a confederation. It is a federal republic. So we can, if we give examples of why Nigeria is not working, it's not working simply because of leadership. It's not because we are different. Because Americans are different groups of people. Everybody gets to America and becomes an American, Italian American, Nigerian American. Why are they not fighting and killing each other because of their tribes? It's because that there are infrastructure of integration, the government functions, and there is the rule of law. These are the things we should battle to create in our own society. And that's the only thing that can scaffold our development. Without that, we are not going anywhere.
All right. Thank you. CM. Yes.
Well, I think the question I prepared for three of them, one each, Oyeyemi, Ato, and this thing. Well, I thought it has been overtaken by events, what I've heard, but let me just put it across. I know it might not matter anymore. Chief Remi Oyeyemi, you are now the Owa Oboko of Ijesha land. Will you summon the Igbos living within the Ijesha land and tell them who to vote for? That is your own question. For Ayu, first of all, let me give you this impression. It is not that the Yorubas are carrying Obi high, like Chief Aya Debanjo is doing. I commend him. Ekweme did it for Obasanjo 1999. All over the Southeast at the same podium, just like Doyo Okupe was following Obi. So it has been like that. But the question I want to ask you is this. The word accommodating, do you think it's derogatory for any tribe to use it against any tribe in Nigeria, where they find each other? That is for you. Then for Franklin, given what you know, the exposure and everything you've had, do you not think that the incoming government should, as a way to de-escalate tension between Ndi Igbo, probably, and their host in the north, and Ndi Igbo and their host communities in the west, do you not think that one of the priorities of the incoming government, whoever it may be, is to go and put infrastructure in the east? At least, even if 100 Igbo people will like to go to the north or south, let's say it will now be 30, 70 will be back, and then so that to de-escalate this tension of you are here, you are not there. Thank you.
All right, I think that's good. Chief Remy, yeah, you want to take with us?
I think it's pause. Yeah, I think network.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to Ayo Yones.
Yes. Regarding the word accommodating that was used by Shipo Yemi, it could have. I think he has addressed it once, and I can maybe, since you asked me, but it wasn't me that used the word, I will have said hospitable, and it's a fact that Yoruba people are very hospitable. It's cultural, Some areas you can't stay there, It's just a fact. It's a state of fact. I don't want us to go back over what we have already discussed, but the point is, generally, Yorubas are hospitable people. They don't disturb anybody, and we can see that from the history of Nigeria. Now, regarding holding of hands and people, when you said Ekweme held Obasanjo's hand and took him all over, yes, that is true. But who else would it have heard? He would have heard Fala if he wasn't holding Obasanjo, because we're only two Yoruba in the something. And Obasanjo was not
It was even sorry. It was even an Igbo man that stepped down for Falaye so that he can be two Yoruba contesting.
That part even is not correct, because what happened was that they have an alliance that if Falaye's party presents the president, the alliance will present the vice president. The moment Falaye has been presented, what is the Igbo man, he changed something. He wasn't presented as the vice president to Falaye for obvious reasons. You cannot have both candidates from the south. So they gave it to Umaru Shinkafi of the north through that alliance. Because of that, Igbo voted the Senate, the National Assembly, and everything according to the alliance. When it comes to presidency, they voted against Falai for Obasanjo. Falai was, for me, this is a personal opinion, better by miles than Obasanjo. Seasoned economists of international repute, and that was the candidate of Yoruba. Obasanjo was candidate of Hausa. Obasanjo himself lost in his own polling unit in that election in 1999. So I won't see it as something done for Yoruba people. It is just the same way of voting along with the North. So I don't want us to go back there because some of the issues will be open wounds that we are trying to close. And regarding some of the things Franklin said, Canada operates like there's very little difference between federalism and confederation. Canada operates like a confederation because they have their own constitution. They are autonomous. Just like Germany, you live, your autonomous region have their different constitution. So that's what we are preaching for Nigeria. You are talking about getting infrastructure. How are you going to get there when you only spend about 10% of your time on pulling ourselves down? This ethnic tension started before pre-independence. We spent about 85% of our time on the fallout from mutual suspicion. So only about 15% of our time is spent on the business of governance. Most of our developmental issues are addressed from ethnic prism. It is our turn. It's our turn to now call everything to the north where Buhari got there. Oh, South and stuff. I just there now. It's our time to chop. Nobody is thinking about that development. And as long as we still have that fundamentally defective structure, infrastructure is not coming anywhere. It's not going to drop from heaven. It's a system. A bad tree doesn't produce good fruit. We have to address the fundamental problem with Nigeria first. You know what the East is capable of doing in manufacturing. If they have the full autonomy to bring in whatever they want to do their own light, everybody will attest to that ingenuity. I know what the Western people can do. Even the North, with the arable land of farming, they can be the basket food for Nigeria. They don't even have to, we don't have to plant food in the South. Look at America. You can cut some states that are specialized in agriculture, New York, financial sector, Idaho, potato, Florida, orange. Each can specialize and leverage on their areas of interest. These are some of the things I expect we will discuss when we have the think tank, so that nobody is left out. Every part of Nigeria is viable, but the fear of unknown that if we start this thing, will my region suffer? As we are able to present the plan and allays the fear of different regions that, if these people go, wait till I go chop. If we are able to do that, Nigeria will develop. Like if the West is developing, East is developing, South is developing, Central is developing, then the whole country will develop. But if we keep a system, the infrastructure is not going to happen because nobody is monitoring anybody. It's our turn. Instead of all of us shouting that this president is misbehaving, we will now refer to when Jonathan did the anchor, when Buhari was doing his thing there, putting everything in the north, everything. When people were shouting, they will say, what did Jonathan do? Didn't the people from Southeast and South take over the government and run in 90%? We fight justification. We use that which is not working to rubbish that which is working. Because we find justification in our own ethnic experience. So the best thing for us to do is to find a way to create an enabling environment for each region of Nigeria to develop at its own pace. That is only where we can have development, because the system is not calibrated for development. It's calibrated to fail as it is right now.
All right. Thank you. Franklin, you want to say something?
Well, no, I was asked a question, so that's what I wanted to address.
Oh, okay.
The question he asked me.
That's true.
Yeah, was whether it wouldn't be meat for the government, the incoming government, to provide infrastructure in the Southeast, so as to mitigate the migration of Southeasterners to every other place. Sociology shows us that it wouldn't. It's not necessarily about infrastructure that people migrate to where markets are. Okay, so if there is market anywhere, you will see people who are a market dominant minority going there to apply their trade. I wouldn't want any government to concentrate only on the Southeast. That would be too nepotistic of me to make that a case. Buhari tried that with the North when he told the United Nations to only concentrate on the North.
Wait, I didn't ask. I didn't say that though. Is that?
I wasn't talking to you. I was asked the question by the man that asked you.
Yeah,
so when
go ahead.
So when Buhari told the UN to concentrate their relief efforts in the North, a lot of people may misunderstand it. But I can understand it because that was the Northeast was being ravaged by Boko Haram and the insurgency and all whatnot. So I wouldn't advise any government to only concentrate on the East. Nigerians always shoot themselves on the foot. You are not doing a people a favor. As a government, you don't do your people a favor by providing infrastructure. You are doing yourself as a government a favor, because if the people have the infrastructure to help them in being productive, they will pay taxes to the government, and the government will use that to develop the country. And then as a government that you are credited with developing your country so very well, your party will always be returned to power. But we leave the basic things and then we fight over irrelevancies. No analysis has beaten Achebe's analysis. It's not about because Nigeria is created on a defective structure. No. How are countries formed? Either by conquest or that people have been living together, or, that's the way it is. What about those countries that were conquered? And they evolved to become good and great societies for their citizens. What made that possible is leadership. Leadership is the factor that pulls every other resource together to create a viable human society. That's what it is. It's not because we are different or because our structure is defective or because the British roped us together. Our problem is that our leadership has always failed. If somebody brings in the argument to say, yeah, if Goodluck Jonathan did it, and then we will try to defend our tribesman. Let's remember when Murtala Mohammed came to power in 1975, the very first thing he did was to institute a quasi, war, a kind of war against indiscipline. Murtala Mohammed ordered that each civil servant that is not on seat by 7 a.m. in the morning, the time that work starts, will lose his job. People thought he was joking. And then he went to the Federal Secretariat and sacked a few people because he was there at 7. The next day, this famous Lagos traffic disappeared and people were on their seats at 7. Excellent leadership. It's not, I'm supporting a military junta, but that's what leadership is all about. Achebe said, it's the failure of leadership to rise to the responsibility of personal example. That's the only trouble with Nigeria. Our leaders are not personally responsible. We make the laws and they are the ones to, first of all, break it. You will see a judge in traffic and his policeman will be kicking every other person's ass so that he will jump the queue. Personal example. That's what leadership is all about. It's not necessarily voting a politician from my tribe. No. A man who is competent. A man who has integrity. That's leadership. Achebe has not been beaten by anybody in his analysis to that effect. So anybody that wants a solution to Nigeria's problem, Achebe gave it to us in a simple pamphlet. The trouble with Nigeria. I have it here. Every Nigerian should buy that book and read. Every other discussions we are holding, we have already been given the solution. If we find good leadership, Nigeria will be great tomorrow. Until we are able to come to that point where we can say, I don't care where he comes from. Can he deliver? Many of us Nigerians living abroad and working in many companies today, they don't ask, where are you from? Can you deliver? By your application and by your interview, you say you can deliver. They give you the job. And that's why those companies are soaring. You will see many Nigerians across so many places doing beautiful and excellent jobs and delivering. People never ask them, are you Nigerian or are you a black man? No. So when we do that to our politics, our problems will disappear because the leadership will be responsive to the needs of the people because they are competent. They know what to do. They have the vision. Leadership, leadership, leadership. That's our problem. And we don't seem to be getting it right in this cycle. That's where my fears are.
All right, thank you. Ayo, can you hold off? Okay,
Yeah.
let's get one more question in,
Yeah.
at least, because it's something urgent. I want Peter to go next. Peter, go ahead.
Let me unmute. Hello, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Wow, it's a wonderful conversation having this evening. I'm so glad that we could sit together and talk about our problems and see how we could fix it. Well, I don't know much about this tribalism issue, though I was born in the old Bendel, come from an Igbo parent, married to a Benin lady. So I understand this tribal tension I would normally have because sometimes even among my people, they sometimes refer like, oh, you married outside your own tribe. But I grew up in a home where my father taught us properly that you should judge people by their character and not actually by their tribe. So coming to Europe, I live in Europe, I live in Spain. I'm an English teacher. So I find it difficult sometimes when we that are living in Europe, you have integrated into the European society. You see how they do things. You are a black man in a white man's world. You know what racism is. We have far-right politicians rising up all over Europe. You know how hard it's going to be for black people. Because in Italy, the far-right group has just won the election. And that's going to be hell for immigrants because the immigration laws are going to be heavier. The chains are going to be heavier on them. Even right here in Spain, there's a political party called Vox. And these people, one of the agenda is to reduce immigration and deal with immigrants. We have this all over Europe. And when it now comes to our own country, we're still dragging for little tribal issues. That this one is Yoruba, this one is Igbo. Look, it's the same thing everywhere. By the grace of God, I've managed to travel around. And I could see that if a white man stops you, if a policeman stops you, he doesn't know if you are Yoruba, if you are Igbo, if you are Senegal, if you are from East Africa or North Africa. What he sees is a black man. And it's so painful that we that have lived in Europe, I thought we were supposed to be the ones educating those back home and try to teach them that we shouldn't be microscopic in our thinking, that we should make it broad and see the greater picture. If only Lagos develops, the whole country is still poor. If only one section of the part, if only one part of the country is developed, what happens to the other part? We are not thinking as a community. We have individual and tribalistic mindset, and this is going to be a problem. No country will do, even in Spain, they have little tribes among them. It might not be obvious, but they do. The Basque region, they don't speak Spanish. The Catalonians, they don't speak Spanish. The Valencianos, they don't speak Spanish. They have their own languages, but this culture, it is interwoven into the fabric of the nation. And they have one law, just like what Mr. Franklin said. In a place where the rule of law works, everybody abides to the rule of law. Everybody abides to the rule of law because the law protects everybody. It protects the indigenes of the country, of the environment, and it also protects the foreigners that are in that environment. So I wanted to ask our panelists, the brothers on the debate team. You guys that have lived in Europe, why do we find it? We know we have our tribal issues and everything, but why do we still find it difficult that we still argue as if we haven't left the shore of Africa in our minds? Please, I would like to know, why are we so interwoven in this tribalistic mindset instead of looking at the bigger picture of a bigger Nigeria? I see people that push for IPOP. I'm an Igbo guy, but sometimes there are things they push that personally I don't accept. I don't accept that it should be this way or it should be that way. But when you now say Igbo people or Yoruba people or Fulani people, so sometimes you don't put people in the same category because of some few sets of that particular group. So why do we find this issue of tribe, even if we have lived in Europe, we've lived in America, we lived in some other places where we see that these people, actually, it doesn't matter where you come from. Why do we still struggle with these things? That's my question. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you, Peter. Who wants to go first?
On the question that Peter raised, and I will.
Hello viewers, if you're watching this channel for the first time, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also click the notification bell to get prompt news updates of our new posts and live streaming. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at YorubaKingdomTV.com. Thanks.